flames of a bonfire curl above the stacks of heavy wood. Heavy wind scraping across the exterior portion of town. The sun's already set, and a figure approaches. For whoever wants to go next.
Pete looks at Shalati. They're taking their time. Hey, who are you?
Salinger's been spending his days for the past week joining in on Shalati's fight training and classes in the mornings, hiking on his own throughout the afternoons with a little notebook in his hands. He doesn't go on searches very much anymore, trying to track or find anyone that's missing. That stopped. Helps at the docks, and spent most of the mid-morning and early afternoon double-checking the walls. It's part of his just regular walk to make sure everything's in place there. And he's got a little pet project that he has been working on in the center of town. The last thing he does before he heads to the bonfire is carve another name into a plank of wood where he's been recording everybody who is gone, with the intention of it turning into a memorial later with someone with more skilled hands than his. Checks himself over, straightens his collar, walks across the edge of town, looks at the sunset, lets out a big sigh, and walks up to the fire.
Look at the height. Can only be Salinger. It's not skinny enough to be Eve.
Yeah, usually Salinger's a little more vocal, though, complaining halfway up. Why so quiet?
I've just had a lot on my mind. Was considering whether or not people would only notice me for my size once again as opposed to my winning personality. Says as he
I was
walks
looking
down.
for it, you know. I didn't say that was Salinger until I heard it and marked that one personality. I made no assumptions.
Yeah. Excuses, says as he sits down next to the two of them.
As if you don't do the same thing. You see somebody going around waist high and it's either me or Ava.
No comment.
All right. Ava has finished up the day. As typical, there's not as many people coming and going, very few appointments, and she doesn't quite make the rounds as often as she used to, staying in the central place just in case something happens, and still studying and reviewing the books during passing the time. It takes a little bit for her to realize that the sun is set. The transition is doesn't affect her as much. It's as if the lights themselves don't seem to dim in quite the distinct way that she was familiar with. She sort of sighs, realizing that she's going to be perhaps just a bit late, sets the book aside, and heads towards the door, pausing for just a second before she puts her mask on and looking around the room quietly once again, trying to see if she can detect that presence, trying to see if there's any sign of being watched. Sensing nothing, she tucks the mask under her arm and makes her way across town until she arrives at the fire, sort of quietly approaching in an unassuming manner, looking for an open seat, for a place to sort of sit next to whoever is available.
Lottie automatically makes room.
And she sits down.
Each would offer a cup of tea, but say, do you want we didn't make any hakim yet. Tea all right for now?
She just sort of nods to you and then accepts it gracefully if you have it in your hand. Also, tell me how this sounds. Is this, does this work? Or does this not work?
You sound like an old-timey... Actually, you sound like a boy talking into a solo cup.
Really? Is that what I sound like?
I like
Yep.
I feel silly talking into a solo cup now.
We need to just get you an actual Plague Doctor mask.
That's totally fine. If we want to pitch in and get...
I don't think you actually want him to speak into the mic wearing an actual Plague Doctor mask.
But every time he turned his head, he could knock something over.
Yeah, just come up with a voice that is Ava's voice when she's wearing the mask. And that just make that sound consistent.
Give her an
I think it works.
Forward to the darkness.
Yeah. The concept of what you're doing is great. It's just for us to be able to hear you, and it's not 100%, like 50% of whatever's happening.
I thought the cup was fine for the purposes of what you're doing.
Bro, but now I just feel silly because I'm just holding a cup.
Yeah, see, I want the visual.
Yeah, why do you think I have my camera off? No way.
No, I don't want to. I mean, I'm here with you at the kayfabe. I can imagine it, but
It actually took me. I was so stupid about how I approached this. I got a cup and found a way to make it attached to my face without realizing all I needed to do was hold it up against my face with a free hand, because I was like, how will I press the button if right. So yeah, real not
This
smart.
is so
this
good.
evening.
We need the visual, Patrick. Turn the camera on.
please turn the camera on.
Your
Patrick,
your
please.
imaginations will have to do for this one. Who's arriving next?
I can. Today is like any other day for Kabeth. She has fallen into quite the routine. Wakes up the same time every morning. Grabs a book off her nightstand. Takes it to the table. Eats a cup of whatever kind of gruel is currently bubbling away on the stove. Kisses each of her sisters on the head, and then goes over to the forge. Spends the morning working on one project. Breaks for lunch. Reads her book. And gets back to work for the rest of the day. And by the end of the day, her face is blackened with soot. She's covered in sweat from being near the fire and from the hard work. Her hands are now rough. Her arms are strong. No matter how many times she hits the hammer, it doesn't seem to take away what she's missing. Doesn't bring satisfaction, but it's work just the same. And today, she, as usual, brushes her hands off on the same spot of her apron, which is also covered in black soot, particularly in those spots, and walks over to the basin where she keeps a pitcher of water, washes herself off as best she can. She looks at her reflection in a shined piece of metal in the corner and says, "Oh God, I can't go looking like this. Oh God, do I always look like that? Oh God." And today she takes extra care and washes her face and actually puts on a clean shirt before leaving the house and strolls quietly through town, watching the sunset as she heads towards the bonfire.
Casey has been kind of reclusive for some time now. You'll catch glimpses of him here and there, never in the same spot. But the obstacle course around his house has grown here and there. Sometimes you'll see him out work on it. Sometimes new pieces will just kind of appear there, but you never see him in the same place at the same time on subsequent days. But on this particular day, wind is kind of whipping through one of the more narrow halls as Casey steps out into a dirt clearing with 4 candles set up on pedestals. And he's kind of breathing, controlling his breathing, bouncing a little bit on the balls of his feet. Am I still there? Everybody froze. Okay. Sorry. Bouncing on the balls of his feet, and he snaps twice and tosses a flame, spins, tosses another flame as they sail past the wicks of the candle, igniting them. He does it 2 more times to the other 2 candles, and then he spins low on the ground, kind of raking his hand across the dirt, creating a line there. And when he goes back to front, his cloak whips open, and he uncoils a long leather whip off of his hip. And he spins again, slings the whip out, and it catches, flies back, and snaps right next to his cheek, leaving a cut just under his eye. And he spins from the blow and kind of smiles and laughs. Bounces on balls of his feet again. Whips again, misses, whips again. The whole time moving in this seamless dance. Every strike missing the candle. Some coming back and causing a tear on a bit of his clothing. And finally, at the end, when he's exhausted, he kind of kneels down. All 4 candles still lit. And he looks up, sees the smoke curling up from the bonfire where all his friends are meeting. He says, "Until tomorrow, then." And he waves his hand, and all 4 candles go out. And he heads to the fire.
But I think it's just a rail left.
Oh shit.
The group people are arriving at the bonfire just for a meeting. You don't know what about.
Do we know who has called the meeting?
Vethedrian, the verdict.
Oh, thank you.
Having come out of her small sanctuary, perhaps a little bit later in the day, somebody had come up to her and mentioned that she was needed at the bonfire. She just nods her head. She spent most of her day with all of the people whose grief has kind of kept them quiet and in need of quiet company and solitude, and some serenity that she seems to be able to provide for them. So she gathers up her skirts and wanders over to the bonfire, a place that she hasn't necessarily been in quite some time. Sort of a place of celebration that seems anathema to what the city and town is now. But curious, she heads that way.
Let's see.
And me.
Cypher. Oh, okay. Yeah, good.
Today, Cypher started her circuit over from the beginning. She goes to the southernmost home in the town and picks through it piece by piece, from rafters to floorboards and every nook and cranny, every shadow in between. And she moves to the next home, and the next home, manages to do a full sweep of a good dozen while still making an appearance back with the bunnies and another appearance in town.
and spends most of her time, her head still in the shadows, thinking through every possible place in every possible hiding spot that anyone or anything could possibly be left in. As the time nears for the bonfire, she strolls up out of an alley, casual as anything, and takes a seat.
Just a 10-second thing. Charlotte, you've noticed this, and probably everyone else does too. Sitting next to you, Ava is sort of muttering something under her breath and making some small hand gestures. A slight breeze coming from behind her head. Her nose is sort of curled up from the smoke, trying to sort of blow the smoke away from her from the fire. So she's just doing this as she sits next to you.
You can't really help but notice that no matter what side of the bonfire Ava ever sits, it seems like the smoke always seems to blow that direction.
Ain't that the way?
Yeah, when Casey gets there, he's kind of glistening. Obviously, he's been just exercising or something like that. He does have a small cut on his cheek with the blood trickling down. His hair is longer than it has been. It's always been a while since he's cut it, but it's still in kind of a fiery mohawk that kind of blows in the wind. And when he arrives, he's his usual happy self, and he smiles at everyone. Well, lovely evening, isn't it?
Adrian still
but they're getting
hasn't
shorter and
arrived
shorter.
yet.
I missed what you said, Kate.
Oh, no worries. Peach was just, yeah, shorter and shorter and less of them. Lovely evenings, that is, because the time is all messed up.
So who made the fire?
Presumably the star of our show. Wherever he is.
Was it lit when I showed up? I was the first one here.
It was already lit. But Adrian's not there.
I mean, it was lit when I showed up, and I was the first of the rest of us, so if Adrian's got to be... Someone lit light.
Mystery fire.
He was talking about leaving town.
Well, maybe that's what he wants to talk to us about now, but I wouldn't say... Probably would call us here to then immediately abandon us. Like, literally ghost.
No, I was just saying that I think that's what he's bringing us here for, yeah.
Well, it would help if he was here to actually tell us.
Wait, what if he was here and he wandered off and then he got attacked by something and he's been eaten and he's dead? And he's dead somewhere. Maybe we should go find him.
Let's wait. Lots of people end up dead somewhere because there are things out there now that will eat you. And I'm not about to get eaten by an Aranakis looking for this guy when he might just take and piss around a boulder.
Not to mention he's a verdict. I mean, he survived a train crash. I don't think he's going down that easy.
Technically, 4 of us survived that train crash. He was just the most direct recipient of it. And a few of us survived Aranakis. He's not that special. Did we get the time wrong?
And where's Ez?
I think he said something about needing to work on a project. Sorry, it's Chris. Go ahead.
No, that works. Same information I was going to give.
Same one he's been working on the past several days, I take it.
I guess so.
Has he left the shop at all?
I haven't wandered the town too much. She looks around at the other people who do get out a little bit more than she does.
He's real
Make sure he's eating
particular
and
to
things.
interrupt him.
Not sure he's moved from his seat in the workshop, but he eats, I presume. He goes to the bathroom sometimes.
We know he's live.
I just can't wait to see what he's working on. Have you seen the limbs that the Verdict is sporting now?
Yes.
They are very impressive. The distance that he jumps, I am a little envious. I've tried, but I cannot jump quite as high. He's got hops.
If I wasn't fond of my legs, I might consider making an upgrade.
The tapering work around the knee joint could have been a little smoother, but they're definitely functional.
Could have been a little smoother. Salander, you go and machine it then.
I'm just talking about how they look, not my relative skill.
It just squints at you and gives the Fry squinty eye.
You squint at me because the smoke keeps hitting you at the face, and he kind of tries to waft it away from you.
She makes the gesture. Go ahead.
Just then, you hear the whirring of clockwork gears, and you hear the steps. The odd cadence, light, heavy, light, heavy, of the Verdict as he begins to emerge from the nearby woodland. In the clockwork arm that Esmond has designed and built, that Ava helped attach to his body. He is holding and hauling a log. Looks uncomfortably large for a person to be holding in one hand. He is wearing again the armor that you had found him in. It's been changed and altered a bit to accommodate the clockwork. Asymmetrical leather on the front, buckles, faded, scratched emblems of the Verdict's order. The train wreck didn't treat it well, but still in good enough shape to wear. He approaches and tosses a log on the fire. There's a flare of embers around. He looks and says, "Good, you're all here. Esmond's working on something for me. I figure we should talk." He sits down in one of the spaces on one of the logs, just as though he's just one of each of you. Says, "It's been months now. This place has come along well. All of you have gotten stronger. These are not easy times for any of us, I know. I suppose I'll be direct. I can't just stay here forever. I need to be moving on soon. There's something I was doing before I came to Shepherd's End, before all of this happened. No matter what is happening, my duties are still mine. How do you feel about this place? What each of you are doing here? There's a quiet that hangs on the group for a moment as each of you think. There's a crackling
What do you
of logs.
mean?
And this has been your home for all your lives. And I would suspect, more than likely, you've known nothing but peace until this year. And everything is different now. Whatever your lives were meant to be, whatever path was laid before you is in mist now. And I don't know what lies ahead for you. Do you?
Can't speak for my friends, but I know that once the spring festival happened, we were supposed to go off fighting on the war front. And now it seems like that is a problem on another planet. Because suddenly we've got so many more pressing needs right here in our own home. But what are we going to do next? What are we going to do from here? Well, what can we do? You're leaving us, but what are you leaving us with? What are we expected to do?
Everything's changed anyways, you know? The plan we had before is, like you said, we have to look after the people who need us here right now. Isn't that what's most important? I mean, my parents are gone. I'm earning the money for the household, making sure everybody's fed. Who will do that if I leave?
It has been my home all my life. And I could not protect everyone that I wanted to, but I can still protect the people who are left. My main concern is if things change even more, if this pocket of relative calm is something that can keep going. Because if the monsters have sprung up and is around our town, what's to say that they will not become fiercer? If it is the wall is reassuring, the way in which we have been able to at least scrape together some food, even if that's at least partly because most people were killed and so there's less need for supply. But the land is changing. The skies have been changing. I can't even predict what the weather will be like, or the winters will be like. Things are so different. I want to say, but I don't know if it is realistic.
He just seems to be listening. It's as though he doesn't want a specific answer. He watches each of your faces with care as you speak.
I guess since we're all sharing our thoughts, I feel like I'm sitting on the edge of a cliff watching a storm roll in. We've got tattered remnants of our childhood sticking here, and we're holding on to it, trying to protect what we have left. We don't know what's going to come around the bend. I don't like uncertainty. That's how I feel about it.
The idea that Shepherd's End is any safer or less safe than any other place is misguided. We can sit here and wait for the newest threat to crop up, or we can forge our own path. Go wherever we please.
We can't leave the place unprotected. And we can't bring in everyone with us.
There's something to be said also for the notion that we can't leave. We don't know those who have left in the past few months, especially if they were alone. They have not made it out very far as we can tell.
Yeah, I mean, it's still worth a try. Just because no one's done it. Doesn't mean that we shouldn't.
Well, we talked about the temple before. Maybe if we move people there, we could be safer. They would be safer.
Araya, as Ava says that, you know the temple well enough to know that it is a pretty strong area of fortification physically, but the infrastructure that feeds it can't feed this many people.
I think in the short term that the temple is a safe place, but in the long term, they would all be safely in caverns starving. We had to rely a lot on this town just to get by. Like, there were simple things and simple needs for the maidens, but it's not enough for a full town. I think before, when we didn't know if we could make Shepherd's End safe, that yeah, the temple made some sense, but I think it's as good as people could be. I feel so responsible for everyone here that if we just, would us going to try to help others mean that there's no one here to help Shepherd's End?
I wonder, actually, if the temple's supplies are not enough to shelter everyone indefinitely, and the city next door was taken over by a monster. We have had no communication with the capital or the armies at the tower. We don't know anything of what is going on. Are we the only ones left? Or might there be help beyond this ring of creatures that is surrounding us?
Can any help get through the ring of creatures? Is everybody just these lucky pockets of survivors?
Yeah, verdict. Where do you mean to go?
He raises his eyes from the fire as you speak. In this low angle of light, you can see the scars on his body, not just from surgery, from wounds sustained in the train wreck itself, scar on his face, and it seems as though his hair is grayed even more the time he's been here. He looks at each of you, stopping on Casey last. Says, based upon what you've said, I have a proposition for you. I came to this region on a very essential mission to my order. But things have changed. The people of this kingdom must be able to protect their homes in order to protect the realm. I did not dispute that. I can help you find where the creatures in the surrounding forest nest, find out what they are, and why they're here, together, get rid of them. That'll make your town a safe place for its people, and help you reclaim your temple, what farmlands it's had, if I recall correctly. Araya, you said you have 2 fields of winter crops that grow there. Shepherd's End is going to need those. When that's done, in exchange for my time, each of you have gotten strong. There's a chance we could make it back into Myrdwell, the city west of here, and see if the teleportation circles, the stones of sending, still function, or are functioning again. ultimately, I have to return to my task. I was sent here to this region to track and find what I've confirmed to be true rumors of a necromancer. And that threat, particularly in these difficult times, these perilous and vulnerable times, is more dangerous than ever. It's one that cannot be ignored.
So there's a necromancer too, on top of the slimes and Aranakas and unreliable trains. I mean, surely you don't think the necromancer caused these other creatures to come forth, right?
Why
There
not?
seems to be no evidence of that from what I've seen. But it's possible there's a connection. Not enough
about the
information to know.
What about the earthquakes in the
sky?
sky?
Did anyone at the Capitol have an idea of what?
I've not had communication with the capital.
No, but before you were sent, I mean, you were among the wisest of all of us, really.
The last that we've heard from the north is the army gathered there, planned to march north to the town of Serathon. And there's been no communication since.
I've heard of that town, Serathon.
Frozen and isolated place.
If you can help us secure the town and the food, then, I mean, it seems like it's the only plan we've got and the one where everybody benefits the most. I'll help.
Me too.
Enough.
I will as well.
Good. Well, Ava has prescribed to me, most obnoxiously, that I need a few more weeks of healing before I'm ready to press the limits of Esmond's work. I don't expect the group of you to eliminate what's ever in the forest, but we are in need of information. You could travel quietly and carefully as possible. You're more capable than you were some months ago. Try to find the best route to reach this temple. The road you'd been taking may no longer be the best.
Rhea definitely perks up at the plan that's leaning towards going back to our temple.
I mean, I would hate to leave work for so long, but I can move faster than many things, and I can certainly scout ahead. I can, in theory, outrun many bad things, hopefully. So, if you want to send me, I'll go take a look and see what's going on. I don't have to go all the way to the temple by myself, but I could at least see what's ahead of us so we can plan.
There's certainly no way that you're going to go by yourself.
What, you think you can keep up?
No, but I can keep walking when you are falling asleep.
Falling asleep? What do you... I don't get that tired, and as long as you feed me, it's fine.
Verdict says, he nods to Gabeth. Commend your bravery, if that's something you keep You're certainly the fastest of us from what I've seen, but I've seen also creatures that in that wood that are faster than you. You should not go alone.
We'll see if they can keep up.
Also, you're not quiet when you're running as fast, so you might just have things follow you in one direction or the other if they just pick up on your tracks.
When have I ever been
to the temple.
quiet? I'm not known for being quiet or sneaky. It's fast. You just gotta keep going. And then when you hear the thing, you just kind of like take off, and then you go in a direction that it can't follow you, and then you'll be safe.
I think Ave is worried about them chasing you like chasing a rabbit and you leading them back to the hutch.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would just run straight home. That's silly. No, you find somewhere.
I didn't. I was just helping translate.
You guys worry a lot.
We have a lot to worry about.
And the most worrisome thing is we don't even know what is out there that we need to worry about. For no reason other than that, we should head out, find out what's outside the walls that could get in.
Lottie's just at Kibet saying, "You guys worry too much." Lottie's just like, kind of like looks at Kibet.
What? What they do? It's fine. I'm just saying that I'm capable of doing things, and I'm able to help. And you should let me help.
Agreed.
We want you to help. We just...
I want you to live.
Yeah.
I'll bring my hammer. I'll be fine.
I wonder if you ran really fast and then swung the hammer while going very fast. Would it hurt more?
Hey, Casey, you want to try something?
Shall we find out?
She laughs.
Nips off of the log.
Let's save that energy for the things actually trying to hurt us.
I don't approve of this experiment.
She whispers to later.
The 2 wet blankets on the log.
I mean, you'd rather test it out there with one of those things running at you?
We could use a dummy.
That doesn't sound fun. What? Oh, I mean,
Not a very nice thing to call Casey.
Aurea laughs and then shuts up very quickly.
That's great. Peach didn't laugh at it originally, but when she sees Aurea laugh, she laughs pretty good.
No, that's not...
You're all assuming that she would actually hit me.
I was hoping that you weren't... That there was like a rock that she would... Not you.
we can build up to. We can start with the rock, and then we can move on to like a straw dummy, and then if we can, we're gonna have to do different size tests to see the limitations of this ability, and yeah, we need a very scientific approach to measure and see how far I can hit things. It's gonna be great. We should do this tomorrow.
Sounds good.
So, you're gonna leave or be ready in a few weeks, and you want us to scout ahead, and it takes a couple days to get there and a couple days back, so we can prep for a few days, and then should we wait for Esmond? Is he gonna be ready to go with us before you're ready?
Esmond's working on something important. He'll probably be busy for a while more. It's best to leave him here, let him work.
Okay.
From what I understand, in those woods, there's something large. You shouldn't try to fight it alone. You might be able to learn its territory, how you can avoid it. I find it unlikely you make it all the way to the temple without encountering something. But from what I've seen of your training, the smaller ones you may be able to deal with. Whatever left those large prints, don't.
Okay, well, I can wrap up things and be ready to go as early as tomorrow if we had to, but an extra day might be good, but I can go whenever.
I can make sure that the people in the guard shifts and my family are prepared if we don't come back. That should only take a few hours, maybe half a day, and then I can go.
Yeah. Go ahead, Zeb.
Wall's in decent enough shape, too. I ain't letting any of you go out there without me beside you.
It's like having our own wall move with us.
Deal with the size.
What is that Salem says. And the stories will be nice too.
I'm ready when everyone else is.
Yeah, we tried before. I hope we have better luck now. I just hope we don't find the rest of the rough guts where we don't want to find them. I hope they're at the temple just fine and bothering my sisters too much.
Yeah, we don't want to find the rough guts.
I wasn't gonna say
That
it
would
so
be rough.
explicitly. You too.
No, but seriously, that would be really gross.
It would be terrible.
It's been a while. Yeah. Unless they've been
Yeah.
fine until now, and then then that would be. I don't know if is it better or worse to find new dead or old dead? Rough.
Both are bad.
New dead.
Only because.
Wait, is it better or worse to find the new dead?
It's worse to find new dead.
Then we might have been able to stop it if it was very recent.
And also, a
suppose it
large
has a-
predators probably nearby having caused the new dead, making us also likely to be new dead. Can we
So in this
change
case-
back to not talking about people that we know
Yeah,
getting ripped
what
apart
in the
woods?
world did this topic turn to?
Cypher, can you go after like a day? Is that enough time for you?
I can go anytime.
Peach?
Yeah, as long as I get somebody to make sure they're covering the wanderlust. It's fine. There's plenty of adults around there who will watch the door.
Is that everybody? Okay, so we'll get ready and we have a day to prep and then head off in the morning. Luckily, there's plenty of daylight these days.
Casey hops up on one of the sitting logs. Yeah, be sure to wear your quietest shoes. And if you look down, he is barefoot.
Bears aren't that quiet.
I'm sorry, bears. Are there bears
Barefoot?
out there too now?
Barefoot.
Araya,
punned you,
Araya,
yeah.
are you making a joke?
I'm trying.
It's
I
really
only-
good.
I'm proud of you, Jess.
It is very good, Araya.
Did you hear that? Araya toed a joke. Smacks Sal on the shoulder.
It was a good one.
Well, I know when to admit defeat.
You
Until
have
tomorrow,
too many feet jokes in your repertoire.
I'll see you all in the morning.
I could hear that pause. You were trying to think of another foot joke.
The verdict glances over at Ava and says, word with you alone. Later, if you don't mind.
picturing the class doing the thing when people get called to the principal's office. I'm like, oh, yeah, all right. Ava just sort of like looks around a little at him, almost a little bit nervous, and then gets a little bit calm and sort of just nods her head. Okay.
Beth fills the gap and scoots over to Casey, and you may hear them whispering plans to try out their experiments tomorrow.
Don't do that.
Oh, we're gonna do that. Yeah.
Call it golfing.
She just looks over at Shalati and she shakes her head.
Yeah, just come to the obstacle course.
I'm not fixing it right away if you break something. Just on principle.
Just let it sting a little bit first, huh?
If you get hurt too much, we won't take you along.
Do not fear. I'll be fine.
I am not worried about you. Wait, no.
Oh no, she realizes she is!
No.
Oh, she's worried about him.
I am trying not to insult Beth by saying that she might get hurt when you wouldn't.
She just kind of flexes a muscle and says, "Don't worry, I got this." You can't see it because she's wearing a puffy shirt, but you know they're there.
I definitely heard that as puppy shirt as well, too. And I was like, what does that mean?
Puffy shirt.
Secretly Cruella de Vil.
It's like, is it muscles or is it fabric? We'll never
Or
know
is it
until you
puppies?
touch it. How is puppies? Awesome.
Salty gets up and dusts off her legs and then just disappears back out of the circle of firelight, heading back to the Wanderlust probably, since that's, I believe, where she's still staying.
Yeah, Casey heads off on his own.
Peach would also head back to the Wanderlust. She would make pace to go at the same speed as Shalati, but not look to like bother her if she doesn't want it.
Araya
She would
might
read
like.
that.
She joins you. Like, Araya. Going to the same place.
We're all going to the same place. Yes, all right, thank you.
Your skirt's blowing a breeze as Beth jogs by you.
Marilyn Monroe. Ah. Beth, you got faster.
Told you. Try to keep up.
Has Araya's dress been altered so as to let her tail out more visibly?
Fuck no. I made false promises to the tail.
Oh no. I bet that won't bite back.
that won't bite her in the ass. But
do
her
exactly
robes have been altered somewhat to allow for like padded armor type vibes. Still cloth. Still very much so cloth.
Just out of character, tomorrow when you guys get prepared to leave, I'll have you describe like your new looks and stuff like that, and weapons and stuff.
Thanks.
Okay, well, I'm going to say before too long, Ava's left alone with the verdict. Circle of logs around the bonfire still going. There's another crack in the logs, and he says, heel turn, that was it. I could have used it. I'm going to slow those.
She has a slight smirk. Her knees bouncing just a little bit. You can tell she's slightly nervous.
This is, your friends are getting stronger. They'll seem to lean on you and the tiefling, tend to their wounds. It's an important responsibility to have. those of you who do choose to travel with me as I hunt the Necromancer, they can be deputized into the Order. I don't know if you know this. All of the verdicts, they are only humans.
What?
I don't think you're ready for it yet. But there is a responsibility of truth that can only be trusted to us.
That's... Wow, I don't know what to there's so many things I'm thinking. I always thought I'd be a healer someday. I never thought about... Wow,
Merely consider your future, as we all must.
Why are they only human? That seems, restrictive.
Very. Well, that's a conversation for another day. An older version of you. One who's seen more of the world.
Yeah, okay. She, cants her eyes as if obviously trying to ask something. So, the Necromancer you're hunting, what did they do to get your attention?
It's been confirmed through a variety of eyewitness accounts and the creatures themselves. This Necromancer has returned at least half a dozen people from the dead.
Oh, yeah, no, that is actually... Yeah, no, I can definitely understand that is not something that anyone should do. I wouldn't, and I am not interested in that, so that's good. I did have questions, though, in doing research about things, and she sort of composes herself for a second. In everything that I found, what you're describing is an affront to nature, and definitely something that is easy to understand. But I was surprised to learn that there are many different ways of using that school of magic that aren't related to that sort of perversion of the natural order and have nothing to do with resurrection. And I try as much as I could, never understood why there just seems to be a pretty broad exclusion and fear of something that seems like it could be useful, and I didn't understand why there wasn't more nuance to it than at least what I was taught about not using any kind of magic within that school. Does that make... I don't... That's kind of a weird way of saying it, but do you understand what I'm asking?
I do. The temptation for those who begin to understand the ways of magic is natural. It is most often that which would make us think we are doing the most good that leads us into evil. Were it not useful, did you not need it? It would have no way of corrupting you. There are tenets within our order. I will give you the first. Long live the Queen, for the dead must never rise.
She smiles a little bit. I think that I have every... yeah, I think that's a tenet that everyone can agree on. And I would never take issue with. So I guess I don't know how many there are, but first tenet passed.
Good. I meant to stay with the fire, but my wounds make me weary, as do the herbs. Do you mind staying with the fire until it's safe to leave it?
Yeah, sure. She was waving, gesturing, and using magic to try to push some of the smoke, which definitely seems to be following her. But she nods to him. I'd be happy to. Good night, Verdict.
Good night. He stands and you hear the intricate mechanical whirring just under the sound of his footsteps, and you're in some way aware of the incredible complexity of what's happening inside of those limbs due to Desmond's work. He fades from your view as you're left there alone with the fire. For just one moment, it's like there's someone there at the fire, still sitting, but when you look, no one's there. The feeling fades.
Well, he's certainly not going to be sneaking up on anyone. You hear a voice from the dark.
Oh my god, Casey.
So what do you have to say?
He was... Were you there the whole time?
No. Just dropping to ease.
He was just telling me about the verdicts and a little bit more about, their order. I didn't know there was one, but he said at some point maybe I should join them, which I was like, not now, but like, it was a lot. It was just, there was a lot of questions.
Dock the verdict.
I know.
Is that something you want?
I've never really thought about it, but it's like I told him, I mean, I always just thought I was gonna be a healer, so I don't... Can you be both?
You can be anything you want.
He didn't seem to agree with that idea. Though it's her non-human friend.
Yeah, I've heard that they're a bit narrow-minded back in the city.
I'd never heard that before. Anyway, yeah, but he's gonna go get some rest, and he asked me if I'd stay with the fire until it dies down. Do you wanna sit with me?
Sure. Pass up a bit fire. Whoever made it.
After just a little while, she just tells him, just offhandedly, do you ever get the sense that there's, like, some kind of thing? Wait, was that you earlier?
What do you mean?
Like, just now, I thought I saw something, and I think it was you. Like, earlier, there was the same feeling, something outside of the Physiker office at the window. Were you there today?
No. Well, most of you have very predictable daily patterns. I don't make a habit of following you guys around.
It's weird. It's just, I sometimes feel like there's something that's been kind of following me like a shadow or something. Can't really...
Is it a shadow following you, you said?
I don't really know. It's like I catch it out of the corner of my eye, and then when I go to look at it, there's nothing there. But I feel like I know that there is. Maybe it's nothing. I mean, I feel like I sense everything these days. And she continues to waft towards the smoke curling towards her face. Could be a bit oversensitive, maybe.
Yeah, maybe it's nothing. Or maybe it's something.
No, it's not comforting at all. Well, and after a bit, I guess, unless Isaac has something, they fall into silence and small talk.
Yeah.
Is there anything that anyone needs to conclude that evening before we move to?
Does Araya still have the cleaver/glaive thing?
She would not have held on to this. What is she gonna do with it?
You swing it.
Honestly, I think she at the just inside the Wanderlust next to the door. There's her trusty broom, and the cleaver set against the wall. And it would not have bothered her if anybody else decided to pick that up and take it. But you're staying with me at the Wanderlust. You would have seen that I set it aside with my room. Like,
Yeah. Basically, where did it end up? That's what I, as a player, want to know. I'm sure Shalati was aware of it.
the dining room of the Wanderlust, leaning up against, just like absolutely massive, just like against the wall.
It's like the rifle on the wall, basically.
If I could interject, Peach would have like mounted it for you so that it would be at least out of the reach of the small children.
Intelligent. The broom though is in hand's reach.
Yes, but you need to step on a chair to get the thingy down.
Is it like our trophy? Like, look at the cool Aha.
I imagine the blood was cleaned off of it.
Yeah, but the Wanderlust is already full of like wall-mounted weapons and like trophies and stuff.
As they return to the Wanderlust, Shalati hesitates and looks at the weapon that's been mounted on the wall, and picks it up. And she's never actually picked it up. It's been put up there, and it's kind of stayed there the entire time. And she gives it a heft, just a little preparatory swing. Kind of seeing how it feels. Is there anything particularly unusual about it besides the origin?
Sorry, I was tending to out of character back and forth. Repeat your question to me.
Shalati is picking up the cleaver from the ruins for the first time and just giving it an experimental twist and trying not to cut things up in the Wanderlust. Is there anything particularly unusual about it besides the size and the origin?
I think. Let's see. Is this really your first time picking it up and messing with it?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's so crudely made, but also like, man, I feel really good to hit someone with it.
He turns around and heads out of the Wanderlust and goes to the training grounds with the dummies. Just to give it a full whack, a swing where she doesn't have to worry about accidentally hitting someone.
Yeah. Describe as you work through the first, trying to figure out using it against the dummies.
She doesn't actually hit the dummies first initially. She takes it through just a warm-up series of swings and circles, moving it around her, getting used to the heft of it and the weight. It's balanced a little bit differently than the one that she's been using most of the time. And when she feels like she has a good handle on how it moves, she steps toward the training dummies and begins to aim strikes. There's one toward the neck. She spins it around, slices toward the legs. What would be the legs is just a post on the dummies. Spins around and hits it again around the torso, and then all the different angles that you can approach another target from.
Yeah, I think you figure out in that time. Yeah, it cuts cleanly, it keeps its edge, its bounce in your hands. It is a +1 magical weapon.
He accidentally ends up shearing the head off of one of the dummies and does a little start, and hastily puts it down. Tries to picks up the head of the dummy and tries to put it back on and tie it back on. And it takes her a moment to find enough twine to repair it, sort of, but it sort of cants loose on the side. She looks at it and says, "Oh, it's good enough, at least the body's still there." And then she turns around to pick up the cleaver and looks at it thoughtfully and carries it back to the Wanderlust.
Okay. Aside from Ava, any other scenes for that night before you guys pass time?
I probably have one for the morning.
Okay. Later, a bit that night, Ava.
I'm back.
At some point in that evening, you've made it back to the Physical Apothecary to make some last-minute arrangements of supplies, make sure you have what you're going to need for the journey tomorrow. You know that no one else is there. You close the door behind you. You had sent all the patients home. You're there at the drawers. You get that feeling again. It's never happened so twice in one day like this. It's like there's someone there.
She sort of slows whatever she's doing, gathering the supplies, and once again, trying to be subtle about it, is trying to focus as much attention as she can, her eyes sort of darting a little bit around the room and the area, trying not to surreptitiously look and listening as intently as she can, and opening any sense that she has, trying to figure out, what is this feeling? Why? Who's there?
You sit with that feeling for a moment. You begin to focus in on it in a way you never have before. And you realize it's above you.
She does the movie look up where you have the camera from overhead. She starts to look up, expecting the monster to come down.
Boo.
Ah! Oh, shit! Oh my god, Seifert, what the fuck?
Seifert slips down from the rafters, landing silently. I have a surprise.
Oh my god. Holy... What? Oh. She calms herself and laughs. What the fuck?
Well, gotcha. And also I got you something. It's late, but here you go. And she hands Ava a kind of like a big grass satchel, decorative, meant to be opened.
Ava, still with one hand holding over her beating heart, sort of takes the satchel. She's smiling now, obviously relieved, and starts to she takes her hand from her over her chest, brushing an errant strand of hair over her behind her ear, just long enough to hold it now, and begins to sift into the bag and see what's there.
Inside, she finds it's something pretty hefty, clearly woven out of grass, but it almost has the texture of leather. It's a really dark, inky black color with sort of a purple sheen. And as she pulls sort of more and more of it out of the bag, you see a glimpse of fur, you see some extra padding, you see glimmers of various tools and trinkets, and fully out of the bag, it becomes clear it's like a piece of armor, or like a bandolier with a shoulder pad, and on the front are many different segments and woven pouches and things of that nature where things can be stowed. And importantly, on the front of the shoulder and the back of the shoulder is a large needle with a wreath and a ring of flames. And you can look on Discord for the pic.
Oh. Oh, that's fantastic.
Love that line work. That's so nice.
Thank you.
This is incredible. Oh my god, I love this.
Gorgeous.
Holy shit, the detailing on the corks. The pouch.
It reminds me of Girl Scout
took some
sash. I
time.
love it. I love it.
She is clearly taken aback, and she looks at it in both hands, holding it up, and then sort of like gets a little misty, and she pulls it to her chest, and it's like, oh my god, thank you. Did you make this?
Yes, which is also why it's late. I hope it comes in handy. As she's standing there, you can see something peculiar about the way that her ears are hanging. One is sort of tucked back like normal, but the other seems pinched in and is hanging at kind of a low, awkward angle.
Out of character, that commenting on her ears, would that be something that's appropriate, or something you wouldn't do?
It's you're a doctor. I think you can comment on her ears.
Okay, all right. I didn't. Yeah. So she looks at sort of cants her head for just a second.
Roll medicine or nature.
Oh, okay. I'll do medicine. I think I'm gonna give that a shot. Hooray!
Oops, all 20s.
I mean, you've dealt with this plenty of times with the younger bunnies. This is a pretty good sign that there may be something going on with Seifert's ear.
Oh. She looks at the sash and like her smile just falters for a second and she like cants her head looking and she goes, your ear. I'm like, oh.
Seifert kind of stands in a dodgy way, like naturally keeping that side further away from suspicious eyes.
No, I've done this like dozens of times, right? Like I need to take a look at that.
She sighs and flips her ear forwards while leaning so you can reach.
Okay. Yeah, Ava starts to examine the ear and treat the what she finds, I guess.
Yeah, taking a look. Yeah, it's got just a little bit of the beginning of an ear infection, some salve. We'll probably take care of it, but it's kind of goopy.
Ugh, gross. She jokes.
No, the salve. Oh, no, keep going.
Yeah, no, yeah. It's she says that jokingly, exaggerating. She says, "I'm joking. It's fine. Let me grab the ointment for it. It'll be taken care of shortly." And, actually, she pauses for a second. It's late. Why not? And she twirls her hands and speaks a little bit of a word, and just for the hell of it, with a gesture, there's some small waves of energy, and the ear itself it goes away. It becomes as if it's just fine.
What are you doing?
Seifert.
Oh, I was just going to use like healing word or something. If that won't actually work, then I was just doing it for flavor.
It'll make it feel better, but it won't cure. You won't cure the.
Oh, okay. In that case, yeah, she treats it with the ointment and then does the little bit of thing to really make it feel better.
Seifert radars her ears like she's recalibrating them. Damn, Ava. That was cool. Thank you.
You're welcome. Again, just put this on again in the morning and then maybe once more for tomorrow, and it should be pretty much healed up after a couple of days. And then she looks back at the sash that she had set down. She wipes her hands absently on the smock that she would have to sort of clean them in the same area, and then picks it up, smiling broadly and just obviously in love with the gift.
When you turn back to where Seifert was standing, she is gone.
After a moment, you realize that feeling. Someone watching you. It's gone.
Thank you, Batman, wherever you are. No. No, that's awesome. This is great. Oh. Yes, and I'm out of character. This is so good. I'm so glad. This is awesome.
I put it up and roll time.
I'm think right now that these have been like so cool and amazing.
In time, the morning's come. New day. Earlier than ever. For those of you who liked sleeping in, you had to get better curtains. Give me, if you would, with the understanding that your character is going to be gearing up to head off for the first time in months, beyond the walls, beyond just the outskirts of the woods and the fields, but into the forest, potentially dangerous place. Give me the little like preparation montage of like gearing up and getting ready to go for each of your characters who plans to go.
One thing I think is sticks to her usual routine because the sun rises so early these days. Her morning swims and runs are no longer pre-dawn; they're just morning. But she goes for her usual solo swim and floats in the dock, dives underwater for a minute, and stays down for as long as she can. Bubbles rising until bubbles rise no more before she surfaces again with a and then she strokes back to go run with Yev and Ash to the reconstructing lighthouse and back again. And then she sits them down and informs them. She probably told them last night, but she goes over again about what she intends to do and what they should be doing if she never comes back, and the things that they should be keeping an eye out for and the routines that they should stick to. It's all stuff that they know already, but she is going over it anyway, and they're reacting to it in their various ways according to their personalities. But she then goes to the little ones, Aster and Amaru, and gives them a hug and sits them down for a much simpler explanation of how she has to go and find some other people and maybe find some more food for the town, and that they should listen to Yev and to Ash and be good and be strong. And then she begins to pack, pulls together a bag, pulls together the weapons. She hesitates for a minute, her hand hovering over the glaive that she's normally been using for practice and for forms, before she picks up the crude cleaver-like spear, the one that looks like it was made for something much bigger and is only a spear by virtue of their smaller size. And then she packs up her things. There's a blanket. There's a little mess kit. It looks like a healer's kit. There's various other items meant for use on the road. And a net. There's a strange little bubble that she is enclosed in a smaller net that hangs off the side of her pack. And when all of this is done, she looks around and presumably, hopefully, they arrange a meetup point at some point, perhaps the hearth, and so she will head there. Okay. I guess actually she'll probably wait for Aurea and anybody else who's staying at the Wanderlust. Makes the most sense.
As you're making your way there, some of your hair still wet from your swim, you perhaps think back for a moment to a day many months ago when you'd been alone at the water. Aurea, that's you.
Wait, is this for me to stunt in?
Aurea is going to do a scene.
Okay.
Aurea knows that you head to the water to do some of your thinking, and she was hoping that she would find you sometime soon. It was like shortly after they had retrieved stuff from the train wreck, and after all the celebrations that should have happened in town that hadn't, she sort of walks up quietly, but not silently, behind you and takes a seat next to you at the water. Naming day. It's weird that everything's very different, but I was thinking about you. Can I see your hand?
Do they not do naming day at the temple? But she gives her hands as she's asking this.
No, no. A lot of the priestesses that come to the temple aren't young women. Not always. And so it's a bunch of older women. There's no sense in doing. No, so she takes from her, like her pocket of the folds of her dress, kind of like a little leather bracelet wrap that's got like embroidered thread. And a friendship bracelet. And she begins like a complicated knot, braiding it around your wrist, and putting in the patterns that are blues, lots of blues. Like honest to God, Aurea is the blue, but mixing in some of the colors that she considers to be yours, which is these golds and earth tones and whatnot. Well, I found this, and I thought it was perfect for you. I mean, it's just I added my own touch, but when I catch the one of the stray cats in the town, and I have this with me, and I'm petting it, I get a sense of, well, that it really wishes it could eat fish right then, and even if there's no fish to be had. And you're a lot better with animals than I am. And I figure maybe
Not
you'd
cats.
appreciate this. No, but maybe. But I wanted you to have this. I was just thinking about you, and you should celebrate in a small way.
Thank you, Araya. Well, this is beautiful. She holds it up as it finishes being woven and looks at it in the morning light. And then she leans over to give Araya a hug and says, I'm glad that you've been here for these last few months. We saw you so infrequently, and I know you must be sad about your sisters in the temple, but I'm glad you're here.
I'm glad I'm here too. I feel fortunate that I got to spend harder time with people I care about so much. I really hope that my sisters are fine, that it's far enough up in the mountains that nothing's interested up there, but no, I'm glad I got to spend this time with you.
She leaves her arm around Araya's shoulders, and we'll just spend a little bit of time looking out at the ocean until Araya has to go, where they both do.
And she leans into your, just like,
Now for the cult.
it's like one of the useless magics item type things, and I'll send you some stuff.
Oh, it's an actual thing.
It's just flavors. That's all.
Who wants to do the next of their little preparation gear up montage?
I just went, so I don't want to go just again. So please, someone.
I'm double checking my math. Make sure that I have all the equipment that I can actually have.
I just realized that I didn't make any room for rations. I collapse immediately as I pick up a piece of food.
So irrational.
Irrational.
Yeah, and we'll say your meeting location is canonically the Wanderlust Tavern. Has anyone volunteered to go next?
Yeah.
Okay.
The sun is streaming brightly through the windows of Casey's bedroom, causing long, harsh shadows to be cast as he stands in front of the mirror. And he struggles down and kind of wriggles into studded dark leather armor with red kind of paint mirroring the magma lines that he has on his skin. And he grimaces a little bit and looks really uncomfortable in it. And he looks down at at the floor where his shadow is cast. He says, "No need to throw shade. You really think I have to wear this?" And he looks up into the mirror. "I'll try it at least. If it doesn't work, I'm not wearing it anymore. I'm not wearing shoes either." And he kind of kicks a pair of sandals off to the corner as he turns to his bed and starts to pick up the different weapons and tools that are laid out there. Grabs a couple daggers and kind of stashes them in. Throws his cloak on. Takes a about foot-long little rod and hooks it to his belt. There's a couple other things that he attaches here and there. Nothing large, nothing over encumbering. He looks at the whip that's sitting up towards the pillow. Yeah. Grabs that, coils it up, and hooks it on his belt as well. Well, all right. Let's see what this stuff can really do. And then he opens the window and deftly leaps out of it and runs off towards the tavern.
Somebody jump in.
Huh?
I said, nice. Somebody jump in.
Salinger's taken one of the rooms at the Wanderlust, still not able to bring himself to stay at his old house, or even go back since the last time he was there. He's holding up a small mirror, shaving, as he has to do every 4 hours or so to keep himself at least remotely clean and not have a full beard. Buttoning up his shirt. It's got some new threads, hints of gray and black, a sunburst gradient from orange to red as an accent on the side of one of them. New belt, some heavy brown boots. He slides a dagger into a sheath just above them. Notices a loose thread in his sleeve. He pulls it, tears a part of it. Brand new shirt. Shakes his arm once and it sews itself right back up. Big smile. Combs his hair back. Makes sure he looks right. Grabs a walking stick and heads downstairs to meet everybody for breakfast before they go out in the world.
Who's next?
I'm not really feeling it this one, so maybe Sal just comes down and Peach is already ready.
Up in her room, Rhea has been packing up a few of the things she'd been originally sent to town to retrieve. Any of the supplies that she had for the sisters that were better serving the survivors have already been distributed, but there's a few things that the sisters had needed and she gathered, and that seemed trite and a little bit useless now, but she packs those into her bags, which is a little bit heavier than she'd want to be carrying, but backpack, pouches, belts, the soft padded armor that she now wears along with her robes. She's fully decked out and laden with things, probably more than she needs, but there's things that she wanted to bring back with her, things that the priestesses might need, and heads downstairs and meets up with Salinger, grabbing just a small bit of bread. I hope the baker in town had survived all of this, and so that the bread is good. But if it's not, hers is the bread she's capable of making is not great, but it's serviceable.
Oh, you guys saved Sally the baker.
I wasn't sure. Thank God we have good bread.
Yes, I thought she was toast.
God damn it.
Casey kicks in through the door unexpectedly. His cloak kind of flies back. You see a few pouches hooked along his belt, along with a couple of wooden stakes as well. Yeah, just wanted to point those out as well. He's like, everyone here? Are we ready?
Ava, as if prompted by Casey's readiness to leave, sort of comes in. What she's wearing could best be described as modern. It is something that almost looks like a breastplate, but it's clearly a lighter and more simplistic armor than that. But it's been customized heavily, likely with the help of Esmond, you would assume, and you'd be correct. On this armor, which seems to have been made somehow in conjunction with Seifred's gift, as though the two of them had conspired to put these things together, you see on the shoulder that the sash is not covering. A metal casing is on the back of this sort of what looks to be almost like a leather chest piece. And within this rests the water skin that is sort of connected. Also, sort of towards her, on her shoulder and towards her back. You would see that, but a shield is currently covering it, also carried on the back. You also notice that on her arm are bands of leather and, not lace, but another material, with small pieces wrapped around, one around the forearm, the other around her hand. And you would have probably seen this before, but you know that Esmond had helped create it so that Ava can take her shield off of her back, being held there with some magnets, and slap it onto her wrist so that it is held there. And but with her very small frame, she needs as much as possible to keep any weight she's carrying on her back, and her hands as free as often as she can. The pouches sync up with those of the sash that she's currently wearing, the one over her other shoulder, and she has everything sort of tightly knit down on in different parts of sort of her chest and armor, and then some on her legs, and another bit wrapped around her forearm. Everything seems like it's as tightly packed as possible so as to help balance and have everything accessible. You also know and would notice that she doesn't carry any sort of weapon with her, just a shield and the things that she would need in order to help tend to someone's wounds.
Beth is standing in the nook of her house where her bed is kept, a small chest of drawers by its side, serving as both dresser and night table. She's got items laid out in the bed. She's like, okay, no, I don't, a lantern is definitely not practical to bring. No, gotta be fast. Okay. She packs things into her backpack, a bedroll, a candle, piece of chalk, clothes, and a small healer's kit that Ava once helped her outfit. All kinds of traveling implements, some rope. She knows never to go without rope these days. You never know when you're going to need it. And once the pack is set, she picks up her latest acquisition, a suit of armor that just covers her torso. She doesn't have anything over her legs, but it is been trying to decide which armor I took. It is splint armor, so pieces of metal are riveted together with leather. She puts it on over a cloth gambeson and over her shirt, and just, it's heavy, but better to be safe, right? Better to be safe. I'll just be fast. I can be fast. Yeah. And she picks up the hammer that she's made. It's resting against the wall, and it's okay. And she walks into the kitchen and kisses each of her sisters goodbye and says, okay, you guys gotta take care of things now. Don't mess with the forge until I'm back. I left plenty of stuff for you. Okay. And she walks out the door and heads to meet her friends.
If I remember correctly, Peach, Cypher, do you guys need more time before you're ready for those kind of deheal things, right? We can just skip you for tonight.
In terms of the getting ready scene, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah, if we could skip Peach, that would be fantastic. Thank you. I just a little out of sorts at the moment.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And Cyfred, later as well?
Yeah, later for me as well. I'm also AFK.
Okay, sounds good. Yes, before too long, all of you, either having already been there or arrived recently, are in the Wanderlust Tavern. Though the piano player and musicians were brutally killed, Esmond has, over the course of time, created some clockwork, sort of self-playing instruments that seem to... they're doing a pretty decent job. They're in the Wanderlust. They only play the same song over and over again, but it's your favorite song. You are maybe starting to get tired of it, though. There's a spread of food on the variety of round tables. Lots more space than there once was. Easy to find a space at the bar, a space at the table. Lowry has moved from the Dry Iron Pub. Now working bartender at the Wanderlust to help Peach out. The prosthetic that he has, much more rudimentary than the one the Verdict has. But it does a pretty good job, pretty articulated as he cleans the glasses, and you can see the scratches that the brass leaves on them, but you know what? It's fine. It's fine. Before too long, your bellies are full of breakfast, and the doorway starts to creak open. You see a familiar figure there, using the middle-sized door. It's Parcel Officer Simon. The turtle slowly makes his way inside. He says, I have heard that after long last, the festivities are complete. The naming day tradition has been accomplished. Hooray! He reaches to his belt and takes a little popper, pulls it, and like a little bit of confetti kind of comes out. I have for each of you a special gift. He kind of reaches to his pouch and takes out these handful, pawful, I don't know what he has, of foot. Turtles have feet. He has hands. He just has hands. Handful. What seem to be small merit badges. He begins to approach each of you and gives you each individualized little merit badges embroidered. It says, you have each earned your gift giver's merit badge. I realize it's come late, but we had to wait for Cyfred to finish the tradition. It's okay, always, to take your time. Yay! And he turns and he slowly leaves. So you each now have a gift giver's merit badge. It allows one of you per roll to use your inspiration if you have one on someone else's roll. It is limited to one of you doing it per roll, however.
No stacking.
Hell yeah.
Can we use it?
That's awesome. Can we use it infinitely?
Yeah, but only one of you per roll.
It's not
That's amazing.
consumable, so don't try and eat it.
Okay, but wait. So if we already used our own inspiration and we still sucked, somebody else could be like, "Ha ha!"
It would only work in a case where you did not have an inspiration, someone else did. You did a roll that needed to be re-rolled. They would use their inspiration for you.
Oh, I can't. If I had already used up my inspiration and I sucked still, you can't like double down inspiration.
Does not apply.
Me.
Does this count as a magical item for attunement?
No, it does not.
Hey. Also, thank you for making every NPC in this town so lovely and wonderful.
Glad you like them.
I missed some of them.
Alright. When you guys decide to leave, you'll be heading out onto the road. If there's anything less to say, preparations to be made. Encouraging talks to be had, now's the time.
Ava checks the weather. She, using some magic, there's a small bit of a ball inside of her hand, and it illustrates what the weather is going to be like for the next 24 hours.
Ooh. Yeah, you shake it, I guess. I don't want to. It's like a maybe. It's just a cantrip, so it's not a real physical object. It's just the image of like a small ball that basically, imagine like a little globe or a little snow globe that would just sort of give a prediction of what it was, but not a physical one.
Casey.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
And as you shake up the snow globe, you look inside. Light snow, sunny day, beautiful.
Is it apparent what this magic is that you're doing?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, do you want me to say what the spell is?
Yeah, sure. Once you use it.
It's a druid craft.
So it's apparent the like effect that you're trying to get out of it. That you're trying to check the weather.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Casey kind of walks over next to Doc and straightens up, watches her do the spell, and reaches into his pouch and pulls out a magic fate ball, shakes it up, turns it to her, and these words appear in the thing. Weather's gonna be fine. Pops it in its pouch, walks over to the door.
I'm gonna regret that gift. Awesome.
Yeah, house rule for the weather prediction. It works 90% of the time. I'm going to leave myself some room to...
Okay. Hey, that's much better than the actual forecasters in real life, so I'm totally happy with that.
What is the forecaster's average accuracy?
Less than 90%.
I want to say like 70% of the time,
I was
maybe.
thinking so too, but I'm like, maybe that's just a number my brain was like, meh.
I was hoping it was like a slot machine you pull. It's like cloud, code, cloud. Like clouds on cloud.
Right now, they were all wrong based on the Midwest.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have a color for how cold it's going to be.
Oh my god.
It's the same color as the sky right now.
Light purple.
Seems like a good day for travel, she says, and anyone can look at this that wants to see it. It's not like only she can divine it.
No, already. What day it's fall, right? What day of fall is it?
Oh yeah, we should establish that now. Let's make it a
You sound so
clean-
thrilled.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I just thought of it. Let's make it a clean 10 autumn. Year around 1018, 1018, 1018. Maybe we're in 1019 now. So you guys get to spring, right?
It's 1019, but it was 1019 before.
Okay. Yeah, whatever the year is. 10 autumn.
Well, is everyone ready?
Yeah. Yeah.
Lottie will go ahead and she nods, and then is just gonna start walking out.
Ava follows after, towards the middle probably of the group.
Before too long, you're making your way through the streets of Shepherd's End to the southern gate, the large gate. There are 2 dock workers with spears standing up on the parapets. It's called parapets. I forget what they're called. That look towards you as you approach. You can see there's at the side of you, walking together, geared to go out in the world, a slight widening of their eyes. No one's done this since you built the wall. One of them starts to turn a crank, and all the clockwork gears turn to the gate. Starts to open up. See, a couple more have gathered to look at you as you're starting to leave the town. Some dock workers nodding. You see some of the villagers, some of your siblings, gathered to watch you go. For too long, you've stepped out onto the road into the old fields. Some left fallow, some of them still yielding crops. The weather's changed, and the way the harvest you get from the fields has changed as well. Before too long, you're making your way across familiar hills, jumping a creek. It's all easier now for some reason than it was just a few months ago. Well, for some of you anyway. You begin to make your way toward the western farmlands. All still familiar, still your home for so long. And you start to see that the wild grasses have grown. Nobody's tending to that field. That doesn't even look familiar anymore. That tree always blossom and lose its leaves that early. Before too long, you pass one of the dwarven houses. It's been already half reclaimed by vines and tall grass. No one's tending to it. You see an old scarecrow. Bird just in the field, not even afraid anymore. Alright. We're gonna take just like a 6-minute break or so. I do have a question. I know some of you are tired. This is kind of late in the night. This next section might have a little bit of preliminary combat. If you don't want to be involved in that, it's fine. Just kind of let me know. So that.
Chris, I'm fine with that. When you're done with the break, can we take like 2 minutes just to talk privately about something for my sheet?
Yeah, sure.
Cool.
Yes. All right, 6-minute break.
Yeah, let's go.
I'm excited for potential combat.
Could be anything.
Leaving the western fields and beginning to head toward the edge of the forest and the mountains that begin to butt into each other and dance in a swerving ridgeline that leads after a 2-day journey, that would lead to a 2-day journey to the temple. You find yourself at the very edge of really what had been, has been your home for your entire life. Some of you have traveled this before, of course, this path between Shepherd's End and the Temple of the Maiden Thrice. But it's been months since anyone left dared to leave the town, and the last time you ventured this area, you saw the signs of danger. The remains of Sheriff Hayne recovered his short sword and just enough to set him to rest. You know that there is danger in this forest, lethal danger, but you can't help be struck by how beautiful this day is. Sun, far in the north, shining, silhouetting the white tower that stretches into the sky, fading into the atmospheric distortion of an impossible height. Wind is blowing, and though it's cold, balances so well with the sunlight directly on you. It's almost pleasant. Grass is swaying, see birds flying, insects. The world's alive. It's cold. It's alive. You can roughly choose. Do you want to travel the familiar path, which is the easiest way to reach the temple? You could veer straight into the forests, the thick brush, knotted roots. Try to go that way. You could head higher up into the mountains, maybe get above all of it. That's rough, slow movement, but, I mean, maybe nothing's up there. Nothing but time. As you guys find yourselves on the path, there's maybe a moment when Casey and Aurea walking with the same cadence. And you remember a day some months ago.
Aurea's been staying at the tavern this whole time, yeah.
At the Wanderlust, yeah.
There's some quick knocking on the door really early one morning.
She sort of like pulls one of the arms of one of Shalati's little siblings off of like her. It's a very crowded room these days. Crawls out of the covers, sees that it's maybe after dawn, and like peeks out the door, hair fluffed. What is it? Is there emergency?
Yeah, you better come with me.
Okay, just a second. Swirl of robes around her, careful pin through the thing, ties at the waist, and heads out.
Casey leads you kind of back into the kitchen area, back rooms. It's so early, no one's up, it's empty back there. And he walks over to one of the corners of an empty room and kind of stops, stares at the corner for a minute. Says, "Are you ready?" And turns around. And in his hands is a very ornate piece of clothing, I guess you could call it. There are 2 caps that look like they would fit perfectly over your horns, with little delicate chains that go in between them, and then off of each of the sides is a long, flowing, kind of iridescent blue fabric that matches your vestments. He says, I know your order is big on the whole covering up your horns and all that, but I really think you shouldn't. They're one, and I think these will help.
Okay, see, I love it though.
Say that again, you froze, I'm sorry.
My internet is suck. Okay. Casey, I love it. Well, thank you. It's so thoughtful. Normally people look at my horns and it gives them a reason to be afraid. Maybe this will help.
I think the more attention you draw to them, the better. Try it on.
Wait, so this is the emergency. Okay, yeah. It's like all dangly and fancy.
Yeah, he kind of like spreads out the fabric behind her, and the light catches it and everything. And he says, "There's a bit more though."
What?
And if you look closely at the caps, there are two little kind of black strips down the side of them. And he reaches into his little pouch. And he reaches up to the horns, and he's like, "Is it okay if I?"
Yeah, but now I'm worried.
And then he reaches up and he kind of takes each of the caps in his hand, like this, just for a moment. And then he reaches down and pulls out a dagger, and he walks her over to one of the shinier, I guess, pots in the kitchen area, one that you can get a good reflection on and see yourself in. He's like, "This is the best part." And he comes around behind her and he reaches up with the dagger and he scrapes it quickly along the little black strip, and it causes a spark. And when he grabbed the horns a moment ago, he had put oil on them, and they cause this little burst of flame, and they catch fire, and there's just two little balls of fire at the tips of your horn burning up off. And he's looking in the pot from around you, just kind of grinning.
Is the fabric not flammable? Is this gonna be okay?
No, the trails has helped me with it. It's not gonna catch fire. Maybe keep it away from your hair. He kind of pats one spot.
So yes, very attention grabbing for my horns. It's the opposite approach. Yes.
But yeah, for a brief moment, it looked badass.
Yes. It's like sparklers.
So yeah, you can if you ever need. I have this little flask of oil that you can use if you ever need to, draw some extra attention.
They're so flashy. That's amazing. Thank you, Casey. They're lovely. They are lovely. They are terrifying when on fire. But they're amazing.
Yeah, I'm glad you like them.
A bit of smoke curls up. You have in the doorway with a bucket of water. It's like, "Don't worry, I've got it." Then we cut back to the present.
Oh no, Casey would not like that.
Nice. Okay, so you guys figure out what approach you want to take to this.
Obviously, we're gonna take the road, right? I mean, if it snows, we don't want to be hiking through the forest, right?
I mean, we check the weather. It'll be fine.
It's gonna snow.
I thought it was going to snow.
Yeah.
A light snow.
I feel like if we've got the 3 routes, and one is the route we have done before, and therefore we might be slightly familiar with, but it might be slightly difficult, or a route we have not tried before and we know is hard, and another route that we know is even harder and we also have not tried before, let's do the one that we've tried before.
And it's the one
Yeah.
the rough cuts most likely would have gone on, and if it's the road most likely to be traveled by any of my sisters too. So
And if
somebody
that
was
one's
behind me.
impassable, why strike out to the other ones yet? We'll clear this one first. We'll try this one first.
Especially since some of the purpose is to reestablish contact with the temple, and hopefully there will be more passage between the town and the temple again. We want to make sure that the easiest way for people is safer, at least.
And we're just scouting, so if we go deep in the woods, we can't really see as far, and we're trying to just catch wind of wherever these things are making their nests and stuff, right? Or territory, or whatever you said.
I imagine if we stay on the road, we're certain to encounter them. But at least we'll know that and be ready.
Okay, so let's start with the road, and we'll try a different path on the way back, or if this one has a problem or something.
We can at least try to be quiet about it, I suppose.
Should be pretty easy on the road.
Okay, unless there's any major protest. Before too long, you set onto the thin trail. It's really only had been kept. A few wagon wheels, some llamas, boots. Occasional journey back and forth. Not too much, but familiar enough, especially to Araya. It's as you begin onto this trail, you're reminded back to the moments as you were leaving the town itself earlier in the day. The curious, awestruck eyes of the villagers around you, perk of bunny ears, peak of a satyr around a corner, slow wave of a turtle, hurried breathing, young Goliath, jogging after you. Hey, oh, it's Yev. Hey, I heard you're leaving town. He looks to Shalati, hopefully. I can go with you. I can fight. I'm ready.
I know you can fight. That's why you have to stay.
Oh.
If we take everyone with us, then the town will be undefended.
Yeah. Guess that's true. I really wanted to go. I've been practicing. I've been getting better.
You've come really, really far, actually. I'm pretty impressed, honestly. But again, between you and Ash, she is the more cautious one, and you have the strength of arm. And I think between the two of you, I can trust you to watch for Amaru and Aster, and Kibeth's younger sisters are still here too.
Yeah, he kind of looks back towards the town. This is
All the bunnies.
Yes, you're right. Yeah. Okay. While you're gone, I'm going to take care of everything. You don't have to worry at all that anything is bad while you're gone, because I will make sure everything is good here.
His eyes are kind of like a little bit wide and a little bit wary about this, but all she actually says is, Good. And then she reaches out to hold his shoulder, and then hesitates a moment, and then enfolds him in a hug.
Okay. At this point, are you taller or is he taller?
He's probably taller.
Yeah, leans down a little bit. He's hugging you. And each of you see Yev and Charlotte embrace, and you see Gwen, Esmond's mother, kind of peek out around from the alleyways, and she comes kind of walking up and says, "You guys are heading." Oh wait, wrong choose. You guys are heading out. Okay. Does everyone have? Do you have snacks for the road?
I can use more snacks. You got snacks?
Yeah. She reaches in, takes out a wrap of muffins. Hands them to you. There you go.
Oh, thank you. These would be really good. She puts it in her pouch.
Yeah. Hey, while you guys are out there, yeah, just keep an eye out. For Milkwood. Any sign?
Of course.
Beth puts a hand on her shoulder. Yeah, we'll keep an eye out.
Okay. I know Ez wanted to go with you. He's been in the workshop. He's working so much. He's doing something.
Tell him we'll miss him.
Yeah, of course. Okay. Well. Okay, well, you guys.
No, don't just tell him we miss him. Tell him we'll be thinking of him, because that'll make him get a little nervous, and then that'll start his brain going better.
No, that's just from Peach. I'm not thinking about it. I'm just gonna miss him. That's not. No.
Okay. Peach is thinking about you. Okay, I got it. He runs off.
Charlotte will then mime a punch at, or a slap, I guess, at Yev's thigh and says, "Watch your legs. You always leave them open." And then she'll kind of push him back toward him.
Huh. Yeah, he kind of grins a little bit. Wanders off. The verdict is waiting for you outside the gates to see you off. And go back to the present. You've been on the road for some hours now. Tell me a little bit about how you travel. Who's in front? Who stays in the middle? Who's kind of flanking around to the sides or scouting, being on higher ground, or maybe leaning in the back? Give me some idea of how you guys travel.
I want to be wayfinding. I'm helping you pick your way to the trail. I know my way.
Kabeth is kind of running circles around the entire group. She's jogging ahead, running back to Rhea, and okay, do we go this way? And then we've been this way before, right? Because I assume at this point we've all been to the temple at least once.
Probably at least once,
yeah. And then she's anxiously jogging to the back and kind of scoping around, checking the edge of the woods, running back. So she's literally all over the place. And I think that this is the fastest you've ever seen her move in your life.
Cool.
And then she stops randomly to snack and then keeps going.
Ava is distinctly towards the center of the group, trying to stay more or less equidistant from everybody. And as the sun sort of climbs a little bit higher in the sky, she dons the plague mask she has on there, which I'll describe later, but the eyes of which are a little darkened, almost like modern-day sunglasses, basically. And, yeah, follows along.
Scale of 1 to creepy, how is? To be honest.
I honestly haven't figured out exactly. I want to say not that bad. I'll send you an idea of what I had, but in a second.
I'm just trying to determine exactly how creeped out we all are by your affectation.
I think Charlotte is definitely in the front of the people who, at the forefront of the people who are just staying on the road, not necessarily scouting around. Although, given as she is doing her best to watch all the people she regards as more vulnerable, she's also keeping a very nervous eye on Aurea. But as we're doing this, at some point during those 2 hours, or the several hours, she glances back over her shoulder at Ava and says, I never did ask you what brought you to start wearing that kind of creepy mask. I mean, I'll be honest, it is a little bit creepy.
I wasn't gonna say anything, Ava, but I've been a little worried. Is it useful?
I wish I could actually talk through my hands to make the mask, because I really like the way it sounds, but that's fine. Imagine it.
Why can't you do it?
Just leave space between the
This
fingers.
is pressure.
Do it, Carol.
Hold on.
They're gonna fight the Carol away from you.
Yeah, just leave some space.
Alright, I'm gonna try. Is this coming through at least?
I can hear you.
It's okay?
Mm-hmm.
Not the best? Chris, I'm trying to judge your face. It's alright?
It works. Exactly. Keep going. Don't break the pace.
Alright, so, yeah, she sort of, like, looks back and sort of, like, laughs for a second. It's like, oh, yeah, it does kind of help. So, I, get headaches, and, everything just can be a lot, so this kind of helps to, make things a little less too much. Inside is some different flowers, mostly lavender, and it just helps with the smells and the light. Yeah, it just helps. I don't get quite as many headaches.
Oh, Ava, I had no idea.
Yeah, I guess I didn't realize just how odd, I guess, it would appear. Yeah, but it's fine. It works.
If anything that helps, I'm so sorry. I didn't.
It's okay. Sounds are the worst, but I haven't really figured out a way to prevent that from being too much. I have some gauze sort of covering the ears, but it doesn't seem to help very much. Anyway, that's why I am kind of particular about everything.
The mask looks wonderful, though.
Thanks. I made some adjustments to it so the beak wouldn't be quite so long.
It's like a budgie.
And I'll try to figure out an image to share with people so you have an idea.
Yeah, how long is the beak?
Still working on that. I'm not the best with aesthetics, so I have some ideas, but I'll send
And
some.
what color is the mask itself? Like what?
Mostly black. I think it's mostly a black mask with a beak on it and sort of darkened up.
Peach kind of cants her head at it and says, just, maybe don't go blue. You really don't want to remember that chicken.
The head just kind of nods.
You did white. It might make me more visible to anyone who's looking for you. Which could be a good thing if it's people that you want to find you. Looking for a medic, for a physical.
I suppose. I mean, I can take it off when I need to, but, it helps during the day. Like I said, I don't get quite as many headaches, so. But when I really need to see or something, I'll take it off.
Seifert walks calmly, kind of alongside the center of the group. Not really chatting or anything like that. Doesn't seem particularly on edge. But her ears just kind of radar back and forth. Otherwise, seemingly serene and unperturbed.
Some hours more. Do you find yourself... At first you didn't recognize that the grass has changed so much. Trees have changed. But you're standing at the place you found Sheriff Hain. You can't even tell anymore.
Are there any remaining? Have they seen any tracks of the Aranaki or other similar things on their way out here?
During this expedition?
Yes, this particular expedition.
Let's have everybody roll survival. The tracking.
Hey, my
related
first
track
real roll.
things.
That was an 8 of the die.
Oh, sorry, mine was set to 2 GM, but I got a 12. It's bullshit.
It's a natural 20.
What are we rolling? I can't remember.
Survival.
Wait, did you say Doc got a natural 20?
Yeah, Doc wrecked that.
What the fuck?
He's got nothing but 20s this whole time.
21 from Seifert. All right, looks good. Yeah, you guys are all looking out, being careful, of course. You know this forest is dangerous. It's certainly Doc who picks out the edge of a track on a bit of exposed earth in the dirt, something solid and deep enough. This was made definitely before the last rain, so within the last day. Seifert, you've heard some snapping of twigs and movement in the brush a bit deeper in the forest. Maybe 50, 100 feet. Hard to tell.
There's something over there.
Ava takes off the mask, blinks against the sun for a second, and sort of looks at the track and points out to people, mentioning everything you just said.
Zalatea swiveled around. Oh, sorry.
Gentle, refreshing wind blows through, making the trees sway. Last bits of leaves fall.
Zalatea swiveled around toward where Seifert is pointed out. Her hand going to the cleaver, the glaver on her back.
Stand by. Casey kind of moves to the front. He said you heard it over there. And he reaches into his cloak and pulls out a wand and points it at it. And then says a word in primordial.
For a second, everyone picks up the scent of campfire smoke.
Sorry, I didn't mean to roll initiative.
You played this long enough. You know how this game works.
But also, yeah.
Did I come through with Casey pulling out this wand?
If he rolled something, nothing happened.
No, yeah, it pulls out the wand, and says a word in primordial. I don't know that there's anyone here that speaks primordial. And when he does, a burst of light shoots out from the end of it, 60 feet into the direction that we heard the noise from. And then there's this like crackling display of light and a loud crackling noise as if a firework had gone off in that direction. And it's a pretty loud noise. You can hear it about 300 feet away. And a bright light flares up for a moment where it explodes and then it instantly fades away.
Ooh. So what spell are you doing?
This is the Wand of Pyrotechnics.
Ooh. Ava, winces visibly at this display.
Yeah. Immediately, there's a squeal, reptilian, animalistic from the brush there, and you briefly make out the silhouette of a creature some of you have seen before. Ornakis, long tail, reptilian, long legs, short forelegs, dangerous looking snout, frills, beautifully colored, vibrant plumage. It snaps its jaws, surprised, frightened by the display, runs away deeper into the forest.
Well, it's no dynamite, but it'll do in a pinch.
Do we follow it?
No.
Definitely not.
Now, there's an idea. We could find out where it goes. If we
Last
could
Or
time
it could be trying to lure us out. What if it's a scout thing? We need to just sit here and observe for a little bit.
I mean, either we let them hunt us or we hunt them.
Or
we
we could
observe
keep
and then we
moving.
move on.
We're not supposed to make it all the way there. We're just supposed to figure out where those things are and report back, right?
We were supposed to make it to the temple.
No, that's
Yeah.
what we're doing with the verdict. He's wanting to go with us to the temple. We're supposed to just be scouting the pathway and trying to find out where those things are.
Oh.
And I'm saying you don't follow the one scout be back to the hive. You see where they're swarming. So we don't want to follow just the one.
Well, it's a good start to follow the one.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna agree with Casey, actually. I don't think we should just wait and...
Yeah.
I mean, they're obviously drawn to the road. They've had success on it. They're going to keep coming. Either we kill them on the road or we follow them to where they're coming from.
I'll follow wherever you guys go.
Is going to start moving toward where the Ornakas had fled, moving as quietly as she can through the underbrush.
Mm-hmm. And first, you see sparks and the smell of like festival fireworks, where Casey's wand had gone off. The first tracks are very easy to see. You can see the deep impressions, claw marks in the ground, and where the dirt's kicked, where the creature fled deep into the forest, heading southward.
You jerk search in that direction.
I think we should follow it.
Ava just looks around at everybody.
As long as we all stay in a large group, we should follow it. Yeah, there's nobody wandering off or running.
I'll follow you.
Let us try and approach it quietly, though.
I can do quiet.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to stay here by myself, so.
We'll follow quietly then. And he kind of glances at Kabeth. Quietly then.
What are you? You hear her armor jingle as she starts to try to sneak along. Trying really hard to be sneaky, but as she moves, she's like cling, cling, cling.
Reminds me of Rue in every stealth check being like an armoire full of pots and pans falling down the stairs.
Kabeth just sounds like a Ren fair. At first the tracks easy to follow. This creature was in a hurry, moving in soft earth. You begin to follow the tracks deeper south. The wind is moving the trees that have almost lost most of their leaves. So early in the autumn already. They'd even started to turn in the light of summer. There's a light snow coming down that's collected around you. And the scent is fragrant. lovely, inviting. The grasses are grasses and brush are thick but brittle. It's very hard to move quietly, but it's also very hard for things around you to move quietly either. After a while, the trail is becoming harder to follow. The people who were in charge of tracking this trail, please roll survival again.
And who would that be? Who's good at tracking?
Well, it was who had good survival rolls in the first place, right? So Seaford.
Well, I mean, I want it to be based on the roleplay. Who is in the lead and taking care of these things?
I think Shalati would have volunteered herself for that. That said, I predict I will roll another 8. So
Yeah.
Since Seifert will be part of a group of people paying attention to this kind of thing, but she's not singularly trying to like take over tracking.
So Shalati and Seifert in the lead, is that correct?
I'm at the back because we're trying to be stealthy, and Beth knows that's not her thing, so she's hanging at the back. She's like, I can run to the front if you need me.
heavy weapons give disadvantage on stealth, right?
Mm-hmm. Longbow, greatsword, things like that.
I think. Yeah, I think she would have given the cleaver to Kibeth while Shalati is going ahead, forging ahead.
Bet tips over.
There's a 21 and a dirty 20 from Shalati and Seifert. Yeah. Some months ago, you would have had no capacity to do this, but you spent time at the edge of the forest, finding, people who wander off, or animals that you're looking for. You see the snap of a twig on one of the trees, a blade of high grass that's been bent to the top. Scrape mark against the bark of a tree at about hip height. Following these things, you realize you need to start veering a bit to the west. Make the correction. Follow it that way. Before too long, the woods have become thicker. The trees taller. The brightness of the day is masked behind the collective density of all of the trunks and limbs. It feels a bit dimmer now, a bit grayer. There's still insects. There's a butterfly that floats past you. Let me have all of the people in the lead half. People who are close enough to immediately be involved if something happens. Roll stealth and perception. If you were far enough in the back that you would not give away your friends, you do not roll for this.
I would have been in the middle. Can I roll just for fun?
It's up to you. If you roll, you're involved.
I get involved. Yes. I get to roll stealth on advantage.
Well, so do I, but Peach is not sitting close to the people.
It's okay, Peach, you can hang with me. She's got a warhammer in one hand and a cleaver in the other.
Ooh, Shalati. Natural 20 on perception.
That's amazing.
A lot of good rolls here. 21 from Casey, 22 stealth for Maria with 17 perception. Okay, it is, however, Shalati with that natural 20.
Yeah.
You notice 2 flickers of movement on the edge of your vision, flanking around to the back towards Kabeth.
She abandons stealth at that point and is going to pull out one of the javelins that is on her back and calls out, "Kibeth, by you!"
All right.
Can I roll to see if I see it?
Yeah, you definitely, as soon as she says that, you spin around and you hear, but you're not surprised. Like, everyone roll initiative, please.
Huzzah.
Wait, do we have
Everyone?
characters?
Oh yeah, we don't have the little people, so we can't click on ourselves and the initiative.
Just,
So I
you
guess
can just roll it from your character sheet for now. You can click your character
Okay.
sheet.
Natural 20s are coming out of the
Oh, yeah.
woodwork.
Where on a character sheet do you select that?
I think it's
Oh, I see it.
It's
you
next to
select
AC.
the actual word initiative.
Got it.
Yeah. It took me a second too. I was like, what? Click.
Yeah, this is hecka confusing, but thank you, Patrick, for asking the question I was about to ask.
Holy shit, I see someone took alert.
Quick technical question. I apparently have the 2GM thing toggled on. Where do I toggle that off?
Top left.
Should be on your.
Oh wait, I think I fucked up my initiative thingy.
Okay, I was gonna say, how do you have 12?
No, exactly, because I was like looking at it and I was like, no, it's not supposed to be a 12. Oh, it's supposed to be a 2.
Yeah, you can roll again. Or just subtract 10 from it.
How do I click anything? Yeah.
Alright, with Shalati having spotted the flanking two Arnakas that are dashing towards Kibeth from the sides. No one's surprised, because they were spotted. It looks as though, if I understand correctly... Oh, Shalati also got a natural 20 on initiative?
Yes.
Nice. Shalati first to act, and Cypher to be next.
How far away are the two
50
Arnoks?
feet. Closing fast.
Okay. She and I did not hear anything coming up from behind. Well, I should say in our area, the front area.
Nothing important in the front.
Okay. She basically doubles back. Her heel digs into the ground, into the loam, and she starts sprinting back toward Kibeth and the rear echelon. But while she is moving, she pulls out the Actually, hang on. Yeah. Okay. So she's gonna pull out one of the javelins. They're basically just sharpened sticks from her shoulder, and she throws it at one of the near Aranakas.
Okay. Because of all the brush and things like that and hanging twigs, you'll have disadvantage for ranged attack. Thank you, guys.
Actually, is there a way for me to just stick myself in between Kibeth if I dash as well?
If you dash, you could get there. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I think then in that case she's not gonna throw. She is going to yeah. She sprints back as fast as she can. Head down. Kind of really rushing past, pushing people out of the way, and skids to a halt between Kibeth and Peach and the Arnoxes, and kind of halting herself by sliding to a stop, one of her hands going down to keep herself from moving right into them. And then she is going to, she snarls at them, and her eyes taking on a deep focus, and she's going to rage.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Interesting.
Casey,
Yeah,
you've
just
seen
in
this before.
Just a note, Cypher would normally go before Shalati, just the natural 20 was for the first turn.
That's it. Can I use free action to unhook the shield?
Mm-hmm. As part of your movement, yeah, okay. you could do that.
Cool, thank you. And that's my turn.
All right. Cypher, you see Shalati's already on the move. Creature's closing in on the back.
This
is the part I am the absolute least prepared for.
You can just do something flavorful if the mechanics aren't in place yet.
Sorry, I can't.
Yeah, no worries. You want to just say that Cypherhead is ready for battle? Just keep an eye out in case anything's trying to sneak around behind you?
Sure.
Sounds good. Next is going to be Araya.
She pulls from, like, the satchel, the pouches at her belt, a little bit of water, and sprinkles the water on the folks nearest her who have weapons. She's in the middle, so she can reach anybody she wants to. Shalati and Kaveth and Sal or Casey. Sal or Casey. Sal or Casey. Can you guys just Rochambeau real fast for me?
Casey doesn't have a weapon out, if that...
Alright, then it's Sal! Sal, you got sprinkled. And she mumbles a brief but important prayer as her hands are clasped and casts bless on you all.
Nice. So you gain that D4 to attacks and saving throws.
Can you go over again who was included?
You, Sal, and Shal.
You shall. You Sal shall. You Sal shall.
Sounds a lot like her prayer.
Mm-hmm. Alright. Peach.
I am trying to figure it.
Array, anything else you want
to do? She's going to keep her eyes forward on the one that had snuck up behind them, but she's praying in earnest from here on out.
Alright, sounds good. Peach. If you don't have mechanics in place, you can just do something flavorful.
Yeah, I have an idea. So, are we on is there a cart here? Are we all on foot?
You're all on foot in the forest.
On foot in the forest.
There are two Arnakas, reptilian feathered creatures with sharp claws and beaks trying to fall on at you, full tilt. Shalati's just slid in front of you to try to protect you.
Peach puts her hand against Shalati's back and just very gently says, "You have this, Shalati. Thank you. You are the strongest girl I know. I swear. Shalati, you can take this thing down." And she's going to cast heroism on Shalati.
Click that when you get a chance.
And that'll be it for my turn.
Thank you. That's quite nice.
Kibeth, it's you.
She's got a hammer in one hand, a warhammer in one hand, and a glaive in the other. How far am I from the nearest one to me?
50 feet.
50 feet?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to, and where, is the group just kind of behind me generally?
No, you were in the back with Peach, and Shalati, however, has come running up and slid between you and the monster. She's trying to protect you, but you could run past her and attack them if you wanted to.
I'm going to, but Shalati doesn't have any weapon handy, right?
I have a shield.
There's a shield in her hands.
I'm going to toss the glaive in your direction, even if it lands at your feet. and I'm going to move to your side so that you and I are side by side, sort of making a wall against whatever the end, like whoever's behind us. And I'm going to raise my Warhammer, and I'm going to hold my action.
All right, sounds good. Reaction, catch that glaive if you want, Charlotte.
I think at the moment it will thud, point down into the dirt next to her. But
Cool. Thump. All right, sounds good to get back.
as she is holding her shield.
Next is going to be Doc.
Doc takes the shield off of her back, slaps it onto her forearm with a clink. She then sort of moves so that she stays a little bit in the middle, trying to use the others who are obviously trying to stay in the forefront and sort of do some blocking. And she begins to cast some magic. She uses some intonations and some hand gestures. And then a wave that almost looks sort of like heat sort of around the creature, whichever one happens to be in the lead, sort of comes up as she casts the spell, and it needs to make a saving throw. DC 14.
That's a failure.
Okay. So then I can't get the spell. Wait 1 second. There we go. All right. So that creature, a blast of sort of invisible energy sort of seems to strike it and disoriented it by smacking it in the face. And the creature's actually pulled forward a little bit, separating it just a little bit more from one of the other enemies. And you can tell that it's thrown off balance a little bit and seems as though if it were to attack, it would be a little bit harder. Then, without doing anything at all, just followed almost immediately by this, the other creature seems like it's struggling against the one in the back, struggling against another force. It needs to also make a saving throw. Oh, yep, that succeeds, and so nothing happens. It struggles and pushes through.
Alright, sounds good. Yeah, you see one of those creatures stumble a bit after there's the just strange distortion in the air. What's going on? Casey.
You said ranged attacks were disadvantaged from where we currently are.
Because of all the brush cover and twigs and all that stuff, right?
How close would we have to be to not be disadvantaged on range?
We'll say within 20 feet.
Cool. Yeah, Casey, looking back at the chaos unfolding, kind of, it's like a game of turf ball. Or it's turf ball, right? Spin turf? Spin drift? Yeah, it's like a game of spin turf. Like, there's the other team, and he instantly kicks into it. Kicks off, running swiftly towards the one that Ava did not go after. And he's grinning the whole time, but focused. And as he runs forward, the full distance, you said we were 50 feet away? Yeah. So he runs his full 30 feet. And as he gets, he is speaking low and primordial, and he kind of waves his hand in the air and throws out a huge orb of kind of energy.
Wait, before you continue, sorry. Let me make sure. You were in the back group, right? Because only the back group was 50 feet away. The front group was farther.
Front group's farther. Okay. Yeah, I was helping with the... Well, oh yeah, I was up front.
Okay. So
Okay.
you would have to dash to get to where like Kabeth is.
Okay, can I get within 30 feet without dashing?
Of Kabeth, but certainly not the creatures.
Okay. Then he will... No, he does it anyway. He runs up. To hell with the branches, to hell with the things. And he throws out this ball of energy. It's not the fire that you've seen before. It's something different, a bit more hard to describe. And he tosses it at the one that Doc did not go for.
Make an attack. Roll ranged disadvantage. And you can see these creatures are in a full-on sprint at the two people who are lingering in the back. And if you had to guess by how fast they're moving, their running speed's probably 90.
Moment. Sorry, I'm trying to find the thing that asks me about advantage or disadvantage. There we go. There we go. Nope.
Ooh, alright. Chaos bolts. Evocation magic.
Hang on.
Unless that was the wrong thing.
Yeah, but it didn't roll.
It's not a. It's a spell save, right?
No, it's an attack.
You toggle it to spell attack in your spell thing. You can also manually roll the die if it's not set up the right way. For right now, that might be faster.
This is such a fitting thing for Casey to do, by the way. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
Let me add more chaos into the situation.
Yeah, we're getting really close to the end. This won't be very long.
And I'm also inspired.
Woohoo! That 7 becomes an 18 instead.
Well, do I have to roll another one
Um,
if I'm inspired on disadvantage?
yeah, you'd have to. Well, I don't think it matters because you would take the lower of the two. So, I guess it depends on if you're.
My thought on inspired for disadvantage would be I would re-roll the lowest one.
Well, you would compare it to the result. It's like you'd roll 2, take 1, roll again, and take the higher. Interesting. Yeah. You'd roll 2, take the lowest, then roll another one and take the highest of those two. For its fire on disadvantage. It might come out to be the same thing.
Wait, roll 2, take the lowest, and then
you are disadvantaged, you complete that roll. So you roll 2, take the lowest. That's the result. And then if you're inspired, you can roll another die, and you would take the highest of those 2.
Yeah, so right now he has a 7.
Yeah.
So the next roll I would do would be basically what I get, essentially, if it's or
if
so.
If it's higher.
For some reason, that doesn't make sense to me, but we're doing it.
Oof.
Oof. Yeah, that bolt of energy boom, hits a tree. Seems to, like fire, I guess, pop into different primordial elements. They're still closing in. Was Casey last? I think Casey was last.
At a 9 or an 8.
Yeah. Alright, so one of them stumbled a bit, but didn't stop him. The blast went over him. Didn't hit him. One takes a leap at Kabeth, raking at her with claws. Ooh, what is your armor class?
17.
Yeah, it's definitely going to hit you. That's without bonuses. Yeah.
Wait, was that the first one?
Um,
The first one was disadvantaged.
Oh, disadvantaged. Yeah, rolling again because of that stumble.
Mm-hmm.
I also got skipped that round.
Oh, you got skipped. Sorry. Sal, go.
Yeah, when I was asking for the 2GM chat, I think I was sending the message to myself somehow.
Yeah.
So sorry about that.
Yeah, well, this creature's leaping through the air at Kabeth. You can see Salinger. It's going to get her with those claws if you don't do something.
Yeah. So I was with the back group, so I could see the rest of them. Salinger opens that hand with the gauntlet that he found in the ruins, kind of silvery, shimmering, clenches a fist, and the air ripples and condenses, almost looking like a thick, heavy fog, into the shape of a shield. He starts by walking and then moves to a run to try and get in front of Kabeth. And right as he runs past her, you see leaves kind of kick up around him and he vanishes.
Ooh.
I can send you exactly what I did, Chris.
Sure, yeah. Yeah, just so I know. But I think I understand. The creature leaps through the air, sailing right towards Kabeth. However, I think I understand. It impacts with something, and maybe you guys see a ripple that's kind of in the shape of Salinger. Scrape of the claw against the shield projected on your arm. The creature's squawking, it's thrashing its tail and biting, like holding onto the top of the shield and trying to jerk it around and trying to get on the other side, but it can't. The second one takes a turn and leaps towards Peach. 13 on the die. What is your armor class, Peach? Oh, wait.
Wasn't I standing in the way?
Yeah, Shalati is in the way.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Literally hiding behind her.
Yes. So Shalati, it's leaping at Shalati instead because you were the one who was there to interpose. What's your armor class?
17 at the moment.
17. Okay. Yeah, this creature leaping through the air digs its claws into your shield, scrapes through, but it looks as though the one of the claws on the other leg scrapes against the front of your knee. Take 2 points of... that's 2 on the die. You take 4 points of slashing damage.
Am I within 5 feet?
Yeah, I think she was right there with you.
Can I use my fighting style interception? When a creature I see hits a target other than me within 5 feet, I can use my reaction to reduce the damage.
I love it if you describe what you do.
Yeah, this creature is moving really fast, faster than anything Kabeth has ever seen. But she's still fast herself, and she, I don't know if is she on my right or my left? You can just arbitrarily pick.
Right side.
she sticks her warhammer out and intercepts the connection. I think it still connects with Shalati's shield, but Kebeth gets her hammer in the way just in time, and I would reduce the damage by 1d10 plus 2.
Whoa, give it a roll.
So 4. I would reduce 4.
No damage as you smash that creature's claw, knocking out of the way, protecting Shalati.
She winks at Shalati.
The creatures have engaged the back line. They're squawking, growling, snapping with teeth, thrashing their tails back to the top. Cypher's watching the back just in case something flanks behind you, because it could happen at any moment. Shalati, you're next.
Shalati is going to. I'm trying to decide if I want to do this. I think it would be fun though. One Arnakas leapt down, and if it weren't for Kebeth, it would have grazed her knee. And so she literally just brings her other fist around and just punches it in the snoot.
Right.
Oh, come on.
Yeah,
Or a 10, which I assume does not hit.
Yeah, these things are fast. You swing
Actually,
it, and it
Can
seems to...
can I actually? I want to reuse my inspiration for this.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so that was an 18
Ooh, nice. Yeah, 18 will definitely hit.
plus 1 from bless, so that would be a 19 total. And so she hits it. Do you want to just use the damage from there?
Yeah,
technically, I don't think rage actually works because she's not hitting with a weapon unless you want to apply that to fists. But
if you have like Tavern Brawl or something like that, it would. But
I do, yeah.
Okay, yeah, that'll work.
Which is actually going to be immediately relevant because she basically hits it in the snout, and then as her fist makes impact, her hands open, and she's just going to grab it and just going to attempt to grapple.
Nice.
With my bonus. So that will be a athletics check against its athletics.
Calling its athletics.
Oh, come on.
What you get? You get 11. Yeah, you almost get it, but you feel it scrape underneath your nails, and it shakes its head free and snaps at you, and you hear the in the air.
Yeah, that was basically all I could do, and I'm not moving, so.
Okay.
That's
Yeah,
it.
but you gave it a good smash on the snoot with a fist, and it definitely did not like that. Alright.
In holding concentration, that's just a matter of if I get attacked, and I can't do another concentration-based thing, right?
No, it does not stop you from casting spells or doing any other things. It merely fills up your concentration slot that you would have to use for other spells to concentrate on. However, non-concentration spells you can still cast.
I'm making sure it's not concentration.
Bless is.
No. Bless is, yes. But the other thing.
Okay. Peach will be next, just so you know. Kebeth after that.
The closest one that Shalati just booped the snoot. Araya is going to, with a turn of her hand and summoning just like the light deep within inside her, casting out from her a prayer and like a radiant flame from her, and it needs to do a dexterity saving throw against 13.
Makes it.
And the fire flickers from her hand and fizzles off into the distance. It's great.
Yeah, these things are fast and agile, leaping back and forth, easily dodging slow-moving things.
Is there still one close within range? Oh, I didn't mean to jump. It's not my.
Anything else in your turn, Araya?
No, this is plenty.
Peach, you're up. Yeah, both of them are pretty close now. Salinger's right in front of you, protecting you with a shield. The other one's tangled with Kabeth and Shalati.
Let me just check something real quick. Sorry, just a moment. In real life. Peach would have thought of this already.
Forgot to add 4 temp hit points from heroes.
Kabeth is next. Salinger after that.
So, Is there the two Aeronaucuses are nearby? Right. So,
One's
Peach
right
kind
in
of...
front of you.
Yeah, right in front of me. So Peach is kind of pushed back a bit. She sees in front of her Sal and Shalati both shielding her, and she sees the scrambling thing above it, and she just starts whispering, terrified. You need to get out of here. You don't know how strong we are. We've been training for this, and we've got more powerful things than you could ever know. And as she speaks, her voice gets louder, and the noise starts to bend against itself in a way that is painful to hear, but only for the Aranakis. And he's going to have to make a wisdom save to survive my dissonant whispers.
Much better than a dex save.
15 on the die. They're probably going to make that. They still take half damage, though. Is that right?
Oh, yay!
What's your damage?
Oh, 3d6. I have to roll it.
The creature starts thrashing around erratically, squawking. Definitely did not like that. Anything else in your turn after damage?
Nope, that's it.
Okay, 10 damage. Nice, so they'll take 5. Yeah, it definitely did not like that. Kabeth, you're up. Salinger next.
After seeing Shalati try to hit it on the nose, she takes her hammer back in 2 hands, and as soon as Shalati is clear, she is going to swing this hammer right at this creature. Oh, that's lame. Can I use my inspiration?
Absolutely. That's what they're for.
That's a 12.
Still didn't cut it. You swing.
Did you have less?
Oh, I did have bless.
Yeah.
You do!
Roll that d4.
Oh, thank God. I was trying to keep up.
That's a 1.
That's
13?
enough.
Yeah!
Oh, hell yes. I mean, goddess bless.
Uh-oh, your demonic side is coming out.
I know, right? I really do have to work on my, curse.
Who will be the warlock of this campaign? We'll find out later. Okay, so the 12 bludgeoning damage hits.
Ooh, that's a smash of a warhammer. You seen that thing rolling against the ground, thrashing around, flicking its tail before it kicks its way back up to its feet, squawking at you.
I yell at it, "Don't hurt my friends!" I think that's all I'm going to do on this turn.
Alright, you've definitely hurt both of these. Salinger, you're up.
Salinger becomes completely visible again, like a cloak or something fell off of him, and then he's swinging a quarterstaff straight down on the back of the same Aranakis that Kibith was attacking.
Alright, keep going.
Oh no, I don't have all my equipment in yet, so I'm just gonna roll a d20 and add my strength plus my proficiency real fast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I figured not everyone's sheets are fully set up yet.
So that's a 20.
Ooh, yeah, that'll definitely hit.
24 plus bless. I have to throw that in there for a ray.
24.
Yes! Put it in there. And you get blessed, and you get blessed.
And 9 damage.
After that massive blow from Kabeth and then your quarterstaff coming down, you can choose non-lethal if you want, but tell me a story.
Yeah, I would choose non-lethal. The staff comes down in a whipping arc, about a 45-degree angle, making contact just with the base of the shoulders of the creature, cracking and snapping it down in such a way that it clearly is unable to move, but is still twitching, not quite dead, maybe snapping a vertebra.
Yeah, it squawks out, hits the ground, tries to get up, and drops. Tail flops. It's out. Alright, who's next?
Ava repeats the same gesture she did the first time. First, the two, they're standing next to each other. She pushes the unconscious body of the one away. Just, all of a sudden it just slides 5 feet away. And the other one has the heat, that familiar heat right in front of it as it attempts to dodge a...
That was a Constitution save, right?
Yes. Constitution save. Alright. Once it all of a sudden has this invisible impact, stunning, like a blow to the face, rocking its skull a little bit. It sort of shakes its head, I imagine, and sort of trying to shake off the sensation. It seems a bit distracted. But this one doesn't move and instead stays engaged with whoever it's fighting with.
Alright, it'll have disadvantage on its next attack. Who's after it?
Yeah, Casey, still mid-run after throwing that ball and watching it miss, hit the tree, but he sees his friends swoop in, and working swiftly, he runs up to close enough to the probably within 20 feet of the one that's still standing. Says, "Let's just stick with the good stuff for the moment." And he waves his hand and says another word in primordial, and a ball of fire appears, but he doesn't do the snap on this one. It's just the word and the motion. And when he swings his hand out, this bolt of flames come streaking out towards that creature there. Casts Firebolt. It's going to be a 12.
Are you blessed?
Nope.
Oh.
I don't think splashing him with water would have gone over so well.
It leaps to the side, your bolt hits a tree. Kindles some
Okay, what if I
sparks.
really believe in you super hard? Casey, look out!
Is that an inspiration?
Bardic, yes.
You give Bardic Inspiration with a bonus action unless they change something.
Oh.
Yeah, it's not a reaction, it's on
I
your
didn't know
turn.
it's reaction. Oh.
I appreciate the effort, though.
Unless we do have those Barrett badges. If you have an
Oh, yes,
inspiration.
then I would do that. I would pass my inspiration to him.
Ooh.
Ah, you can roll it again.
You don't have to do that, but it is much appreciated.
Yeah!
Ho, ho, ho. That is a 15 on the die, which will hit. Is that 10 fire damage?
Well, I take the first damage because you don't reroll damage, right?
Yeah. Okay, yeah,
So-
first damage. 5
Wait.
damage.
We did that with me, though. We just took whatever the second one was.
Normally I would want to keep it the... I don't know. Actually, with the just the one-click button thing, we'll just take the new damage normally. We'll just make that the rule, because we've done it different ways a couple times. Because I did different rolls for Shalati and for Kibeth. So we'll make it canonical now that the reroll for the attack will also do the damage, since you're just clicking a button. Right? So 10 damage. Yeah, there's a burst of flame Yeah, just because, honestly, we're late. Tell me a story, please.
Yeah, so Casey comes running up and sees all his friends working really well together, and like swiftly, even Peach is doing great. Like, you see the way she was mouthing off to that giant demon bird. Like, hell yeah, he can get behind that. And so he comes running up within 20 feet and just kind of throws out this burst of flame that comes out. And when he does, he lifts off the ground a little bit as the wind swirls around him. Doesn't get too high, but he's definitely off the ground as this fire shoots out and kind of claws over top of this bird and singes all his feathers down as he squawks around and flops onto the ground, still crackling and burning.
One unconscious, one crackling and dead. Creatures are defeated. There's no movement at first, and then you hear squawking sounds, 7 more of them from the forest around you, and then the sound of movement running away from you.
Oh, thank God.
Casey turns to the noise of them running and walks swiftly in that direction, with purpose, as he pulls out that wand again and fires 2 more loud, bright in that direction after the creature.
Yeah, you hear the squawking. You see the silhouette of more of the creatures, but they don't want anything to do with it right now. Maybe later.
Ava winces at the first explosion and cries out a little bit at the second.
I'm going to narrate things forward just a little bit, but let me give you guys just a little moment here, just after battle.
Is everyone okay? Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, well, you can ask that right as I'm doing this. Sal's gonna hogtie that disabled Aranakis and sling him over his shoulder.
You taking that with us?
Know your enemy.
Salty relaxes. She's waited for a minute to see if there's any more danger, and then she relaxes. Her stance relaxing and coming up to her full height. She puts the buckler back at her belt and picks up the cleaver again, and just kind of does a little forearm bump with Kibeth by way of thanks before she looks at the Aranakis. Good eating?
I mean, once you eat it, let's keep the skeleton and the skin. We can tan it up and we can hang that thing in the Wanderlust. That'll be stories for centuries.
It's not
That's
dead.
very pretty
We're not eating
feathers.
it. We're figuring out how it hunts,
I'm
how
saying
it
we can
sees, how it moves.
As they're jabbering, Seifert had stayed kind of what became the new rear to protect the flank. And Seifert, you see something just beyond the next trees. A strange light, not bright. Something unusual there, just beyond the grove.
Can she make out anything of what it might be?
Not from here.
There's something. There's like a light. Do you see that? Right over there. And she'll like kind of step forward and indicate.
Yeah. Is it... would we need to walk towards a clearing in order to get a better view?
You would have to move closer to see what it is.
We better check it out then. Somebody's there. They certainly heard us.
Seifert will move tentatively forward.
Each of you. Go ahead, sir. All right.
could go ahead and invisibly and check it out and comes back. I mean, that's very simple for me to do, just to even know.
You are not unsmellable, though.
Let's just go check it out together.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Just moving around the next grove of trees, past all the brush and the thick tangle of limbs. You can see it clearly, if you could call it that. Vertical, hovering just off the ground, about a foot off the ground, and reaching about 7-8 feet in the air. Not sure what you're looking at first. It's like after the earth tremor, when the side of the tavern had that tear in the wall. You could see outside into the street. It looks like that, but it's just in the air. And through this tear, nothing. It's like you're looking in a different place. Field flowers. Something large moving in the distance. The air around it kind of ripples. Looking down, you can see that there are footprints in the dirt all around this thing. All directions. One set's really big.
I think we should go.
Yeah,
Through
we
the
need to
portal.
tell this to the verdict.
And it says each of you stands there, looking at this impossibility. Recall back to the moment you were leaving the town. The verdict stands there waiting for you, in his armor, a great sword on his back, rifle slung parallel with it. You go now into danger. Toward it, for the better of others. Each of you I deputize into the order of the verdict. But know this. The quarry I hunt is a necromancer. Come from a foreign land. The most dangerous magician you can imagine. She rises, brings the dead from their graves to walk the earth again. They say her hair is as blood, her eye covered and lost, her skin marked with the block of her magic. Travels with a small priest who knows her wicked ways. And this is your enemy. And soon we'll face her. And that is where we end for tonight.
Oh my god, that's amazing, Chris.
Wonderful. Love it.
I think I missed the... Was that light green?
Oh, no, not this.
Oh, okay.
That's way above our challenge rating.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure she could take all of us.
Girl.
Hmm.
Think
I'm
of the
missing so much skill, Vanya.
think of the experience though.
And think of how few hit points we currently have.
Oh man, she has some fucked up shit by the end too. I bet she even has more skills. I'm so excited to see what she does to us.
Man,
Well-
necromancers really are evil.
You get along with her great, actually, Ava, okay? She really wants to save lives. Yeah, she brought a couple people back from the dead, too. You talk about it?
Save all the lives.
Wonderful session. I'm going to go because I have a big day tomorrow. But Merry Christmas
my-
to all of you. I love you guys.
Christmas
Bye,
all.
bye.
Joyous Yule.
Chris, that
Happy
was
Noel.
the most incredible twist ever, and what a wonderful Christmas present. I can't believe Body's reappearance is as an antagonist of the season. I'm so happy.
But she's still traveling with Lumotu, so...
You know,
Was
I mean, she
Lamotu
found
great?
him. Good for her.
Was the Motu what?
Like a priest kind of thing?
Well, this is at least what this guy describes.
Well, the small priest, I was thinking maybe Eric Scow, because he was a part of the, she would have tried to reconnect with him, and he was being trained in that. That's what I do, though, yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, was Eric small? But yeah.
Not particularly, no, but I was like, either were. I was like, Lamotu, but if not.
Yeah, I guess if Vanya
Yeah,
had used her rune magic, she might be huge, and which by comparison anybody else would be small.
If we really want to make her...
Oh, yeah, we forget Vanya can be 20 feet tall, girl.
Yeah. But she found the Motu, but he was dead. So she resurrected him, and now he's just a zombie thrall.
He's just shambling around after her.
You know, we can't really... For this side of the continent, it might be something that obviously we don't want to bring people back from the dead, but pretty much everyone's character from the last campaign came back from the dead at some point.
I know, but girl's so good at it. Now
No.
she's going to become an enemy of the state.
I'm pretty sure Zav said explicitly, "Don't bring me back."
Yeah, maybe it's just the AC kids, because...
Yeah.
Definitely all the AC kids.
Yeah.
Except for Ethan. Ethan never died.
No, that poison was pretty close, huh?
It was pretty
Close,
close.
is not the same thing as dead.
Your heart stop might have stopped.
Dead is
once or
one of those
twice.
things. There's no like
That's-
shades of dead.
That's the whole thesis of my character.
Man, the music really cooperated with me during that verdict speech. It like hit its crescendo like while I was doing that. I was like,
Yeah, it was good.
And we got merit badges and deputy badges in a single session. That's strong.
The merit badges already paid off.
Yeah. Also, future verdict and training badges
And,
for their slightly racist organization.
yeah. And Sal picked up a pet. Amazing.
Oh, yeah?
Amazing.